Chapter 903. Finally awake, Pengzhan was eating noodles with his daughter, but saw that his daughter, Yushu, and Tang Yun were all listless. He stood up and said his goodbyes. "I'll head back then, you guys rest early too?" "Okay." Meng Yaro nodded in response to Pengzhan's suggestion. Pengzhan shook his head and left the villa. Time passed by, and in the blink of an eye, it was already 1 o'clock in the morning, but none of the three girls felt sleepy. "Meng Yaro, Yushu, why don't you guys rest first? I'll wait for Lin Yi here, you guys don't have to stay with me," Tang Yun said as she watched Yushu yawning and widening her eyes. She felt bad for Yushu. She just needed to stick a stick in her eyes. "We're not staying with you. We're just waiting for Lin Yi to wake up. After all, he got hurt because of us," Meng Yaro said with a bitter smile. Yeah, we care more about Shield Bro than you do." Yushu nodded as well. I'm afraid that the three of us won't be able to do it if we keep going like this," Tang Yun explained helplessly. "1 day is fine, 2 days is fine, but we'll have to sleep for 3 days, right? What if Lin Yi wakes up and we can't find him? What would we do?" "If that's the case, you're right." Meng Yaro nodded. "If that's the case, then let's go with the rotation strategy. 1 sleeps, 2 at the same time. What do you think?" "I think so too." Tang Yun agreed. "Yushu, you seem to be the most sleepy. Why don't you go rest first?" "I don't want to, you go first." I'm not sleepy. Yawn." Yushu yawned again. Yushu's body wasn't that strong, which was why she didn't last as long as Meng Yaro when Pinliang locked her up in the cave. "Shu, go to sleep. Listen to me," Meng Yaro ordered. "Oh, all right then." Yushu was indeed sleepy, and since they'd come to an agreement, there was no need for her to force herself to continue. She was resting now so that she could have more energy to wait for Shield Bro. Yushu yawned as she walked up the stairs. Wei Wu seemed to have sensed the tension in the living room as well. He raised his head to look at Yushu before lying there unmoving. Over the past 3 days, no one knew how many times the 3 girls had rotated, and no one deliberately counted. Anyway, when one of them woke up, the other would go to sleep, and the cycle repeated. God knows how many boxes of instant noodles they had eaten, and the sky would turn dark again. There was finally some movement in Lin Yi's room. Tang Yun and Yushu were on duty at the moment, and they stood up hurriedly when they heard the commotion, rushing towards Lin Yi's room. However, neither of them dared to make any loud noises, and when they reached Lin Yi's room, they opened the door quietly despite their anxiety, and carefully looked towards the direction of Lin Yi's bed. Lin Yi's eyelashes moved, and his eyelids were very heavy, but he finally struggled to open his eyes. Phew. Lin Yi let out a long sigh of relief. He finally woke up. This was the most difficult time ever since he got injured. Before this, he could recover most of his strength in 1 night, and even improve a little. But this time, it took him 3 days and 3 nights just to recover from his injuries, and his strength didn't recover at all. After activating the art of dragon mastery, Lin Yi realized bitterly that the meridians in his body were still in a damaged state, and there wasn't a single bit of energy in his body that could be used. In other words, he was no different from a normal person now. Although he had already gotten over it in the Jade, Lin Yi was still a little disappointed when he returned to the real world. From a master to a normal person, it was just a matter of an instant. However, Lin Yi didn't regret it at all. In that situation, Lin Yi had no other choice. If he didn't use the energy bomb, he wouldn't have a chance of winning. This was because Ma Zhu was an anomaly among the physical masters. He practiced the Golden Bell Shield, and Lin Yi was 2 levels lower than him. A spiritual master at the peak of the early phase of Mystic Division could still fight against a physical master at the middle phase of Mystic Division, but it would be hard for him to fight against a physical master at the peak of the middle phase of Mystic Division, not to mention a monster like Ma Zhu. In a situation where there was no chance of winning, Lin Yi could only use all his strength and fight back. If he did as Elder Jiao said and used 1/3 of his energy to repair his meridians, he wouldn't be able to damage Ma Zhu as much as he did now with the remaining 2/3 of his energy to create an energy bomb. Lin Yi wasn't sure if it would still be able to do that. A 100% energy bomb wouldn't be able to kill Ma Zhu, it only blew off one of his arms. What could a 2/3 energy bomb do to him? If the attack didn't work, Lin Yi would have wasted 2/3 of the energy, and the remaining one-third would be useless. So, if the situation could be repeated, Lin Yi would still choose to do the same. He was a qualified follower, right? Although Peng Zhan had hired him to accompany the miss in her studies, he wasn't a full-time bodyguard, but Lin Yi was a stubborn man. He didn't care about money, he cared about friendship. If he didn't have feelings for Miss and Shu, would Lin Yi risk his life for 30,000 yuan? That was impossible. Lin Yi, you are awake. Tang Yun ran over in surprise. Yu Shu didn't want to be outdone, she also ran over to ask for praise. I knew that Shield Bro would be fine, he is the best. Although Lin Yi was unconscious before, he knew what happened outside, but he couldn't force himself to wake up because his body was too weak. He only woke up after his injuries were completely healed. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for accompanying me for 3 days and 3 nights. Tang Yun and Yu Shu were stunned after hearing Lin Yi's word. How did Lin Yi know that they had been with him for 3 days and 3 nights? Although I was unconscious on the surface, I was awake the whole time. Lin Yi said, this time, you guys can have a good rest, right? We are not tired. Tang Yun shook her head. Yeah, Shield Bro, you are hungry, right? What do you want to eat? I will make it for you, Yu Shu said. Chapter 904. Back to shelter, I see. Alright, we'll go rest then. Tang Yun nodded after hearing Lin Yi's words. Meng Yaro woke up in a hurry and went to take over Tang Yun and Yu Shu's shift. She didn't sleep for long, actually, only a couple of hours. She was worried about Lin Yi's safety, so how could she sleep well? She stumbled down the stairs, but didn't see Yu Shu and Tang Yun on the sofa. She was startled, but she vaguely heard some voices in Lin Yi's room. Could it be? Meng Yao's sleepiness disappeared instantly as she rushed to Lin Yi's room. She saw Lin Yi smiling as he laid on the bed, talking to Tang Yun and Shu. Meng Yao's heart relaxed instantly. She was so happy that Lin Yi was finally awake. Yao, you should sleep too. I can tell that you didn't sleep well just by looking at your messy hair. It was Lin Yi's first time seeing such a messy miss. Her hair was messy, and she didn't have any image at all. Meng Yao blushed at Lin Yi's words. She remembered that she just woke up, and her hair was messy. Yu Shu and Tang Yun had been awake for a long time, and they'd already washed their faces and combed their hair. She was the only one who rushed over. Meng Yao's face showed a hint of shyness, a little different from her usual cold miss-image. But the shyness disappeared in a flash, and she returned to her usual calm self. Tang Yun was here, and she had to control her emotions. It's good that you're awake. Do you still need to rest? Yeah, I need to rest for a while. You guys go rest too, Lin Yi said. The 3 girls all had their own thoughts. Meng Yao wanted to say thank you words, Yu Shu wanted to ask what Shield Bro's killer move was, and Tang Yun wanted to ask if there was anything Lin Yi needed her to do. She wanted to stay by Lin Yi's side and take care of him. However, the 3 of them could not say anything and could only leave the room together. Phew. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. It wasn't that he didn't want to see the 3 women, nor did he really want to rest. On the one hand, he wanted the 3 women to rest, but the most important thing was that Lin Yi hadn't thought about what to say to them. Regarding the present and the future, Lin Yi did not know where to go. Lin Yi, who had lost his strength, could be found by enemies at any time. He could lose his life at any time, and he could also bring trouble and danger to the eldest miss. Without strength, it would be difficult for him to move an inch. Fortunately, his enemies did not know of his current situation. Otherwise, they would have come knocking on his door. Thinking of this, Lin Yi could not help but smile bitterly. He wanted to take out his phone to call the old man at home and ask him if there was any way, but when his hand reached into his pocket, he was shocked to find that his phone had been destroyed by his own energy bomb. Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yu Shu were really tired. Everyone was thinking about Lin Yi, and they didn't sleep well for the past 3 days and 3 nights. So, when they came out of Lin Yi's room and felt relieved, they immediately felt sleepy. Tang Yun was also resting in the bedroom above Meng Yao and Yu Shu. The miss didn't mind Tang Yun and let her sleep on her and Yu Shu's bed. The miss didn't know why she suddenly didn't reject Tang Yun so much. She accepted Lin Yi. Did that mean that she also accepted his woman? In short, Meng Yaro didn't hate Tang Yun that much now. Was it a good thing or a bad thing? But Tang Yun was sleeping in the bedroom upstairs. Now that the three of them were going to sleep, how could they sleep on the same bed? Tang Yun also realized that it was inappropriate for the three of them to sleep together, so she took the initiative. Why don't I sleep on the sofa downstairs? Meng Yaro was a little embarrassed after hearing Tang Yun's words. You are a guest, how can you sleep on the sofa? If you want to sleep, it should be Shu. Ah, why me? Yu Shu asked innocently. Ha ha. Tang Yun knew that Meng Yaro was being polite. How could she let Yu Shu sleep on the sofa? So she smiled. Is there a guest room here? Maybe I can sleep in the guest room? Yes, it's just upstairs beside the master bedroom. I'll clean it up for you. Meng Yaro suddenly remembered that there was a guest room in the house. Yu Shu wanted to say that it was Shield Bro's room upstairs, but Meng Yaro was quick to say that it was a guest room and needed to be cleaned up. It was obvious that it hadn't been used for a long time. Yu Shu couldn't help but feel dejected. Her plan to trick Tang Yun had failed. Lin Yi waited for the three girls to go upstairs. After a while, he came out of the room and came to the living room. General Wei Wu looked at Lin Yi curiously. It seemed to have sensed the change in Lin Yi's strength, but it couldn't speak the human language. It barked twice, but Lin Yi ignored it. It could only continue lying on the floor. Lin Yi used the landline phone in the villa and called Old Lin. Yi. Old Lin was in the toilet when he picked up the phone. He almost dropped the phone into the manure pit when it rang. What are you doing? Can't you call later? You're not going to the toilet again, are you? Lin Yi could guess what Old Lin was doing from his tone. Old Lin hemphed. What's the matter? Old man, I dropped a level. I'm a normal person now. Lin Yi didn't waste any time and directly told him about the trouble he was in. A normal person? What happened? Old Lin was startled. He didn't have the time to scold Lin Yi for calling at the wrong time, so he quickly asked. My meridians are all damaged, I can't train my chi. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and told Old Lin everything that happened. So you're saying that your meridians were destroyed by yourself? Old Lin's tone changed after hearing Lin Yi's story. Yes. Lin Yi was helpless. Old man, you're a miracle doctor. Do you have a solution? No. Old man Lin said straightforwardly. What's wrong with you? Aren't you being too careless? Forget it. According to what you said, it's not your fault. Hurry up and pack your bags and come back, then focus on training your physical kung fu. I don't think you can stay in Songshan anymore, you'll only die if you stay there. Chapter 905. Showdown with the Mist. There are many spiritual practitioners in this world with damaged meridians, and many of them are my friends. If I had a way, I would have healed them a long time ago. Why would I wait until now? Old Lin explained. But there's nothing wrong with physical kung fu. You can still reach the peak if you practice it well. Plus, according to your analysis, there might be some unexpected benefits in that stone door. You might even be able to recover your strength, and then you'll be able to dominate the world with both internal and external skills. How could it be that simple? Lin Yi didn't know what to say after listening to Old Lin's words. It was as if practicing physical arts was an easy task for him, and he'd be able to reach the peak in the blink of an eye. But was that even possible? So what? Should I tell you that there's no hope for you and that you should go home and farm? Old Lin rolled his eyes. Look at your shift. Didn't he also practice physical before spiritual, becoming a dual practitioner? Dual practitioner. Lin Yi sweated. The old man's choice of words was quite bold. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Think about it yourself. Old Lin said. Look at Gauden, he's a physical practitioner too, right? Doesn't he look really strong? Can he be replicated? Do you have more of that liquid? Lin Yi rolled his eyes as well. No. Old Lin said straightforwardly. But I can try to make some more, but I won't care if I drink it to death. Lin Yi didn't have any temper left from Old Lin's words, but his mood was much better. All right, old man, I'll pack up and head back. We'll think of something when we get back. It's good that you're open-minded. All roads lead to Rome, Old Lin said. If it really doesn't work out, I'll let Gauden accompany you in the martial world. He'll be your personal bodyguard, and you can pretend to be a rich young master. That'll be awesome too. Lin Yi hung up. But Lin Yi had made his decision. It was time to go home. Although he had only been in Songshan for a little more than a month, he had already met a lot of people here. This experience was very precious, enough to make Lin Yi remember it for the rest of his life. There was the pure, beautiful, and strong-willed Tang Yun, the miss who was cold on the outside but warm on the inside, the cute, lively Shu. There was also that silly Lingshan who used to go against him, but was now obedient. There was also Guan Xin, Xiao Xiao, Wang Xinyan, Sun Jingyi. Would these people become passers-by in this part of his life? Where would Kang Xiaobo, Fatty Lai, Huaijuan, and Guan Shuamin go after he left? No wonder the old man said that after completing this mission, he could retire peacefully. Previously, he thought that this mission was very simple, but now it seemed that it was not the case at all. Sitting in the familiar villa, Lin Yi was a little saddened. Perhaps he would have to leave tomorrow. Lin Yi remembered a poem. I leave quietly, just like I came quietly. I wave my sleeves, not taking a single cloud with me. Lin Yi felt that it was time for him to talk to the miss. There were some things that had to be said. Before his enemies realized that his strength had disappeared, Lin Yi had to be prepared. At night, the miss, Yushu, and Tang Yun woke up and came downstairs to see Lin Yi lying on the sofa watching TV, very relaxed. The three of them were a little nervous before, and their mood improved quite a bit. Lin Yi, are you alright? Meng Yaro and Tang Yun were a little happy. The injuries on my body are fine now. Lin Yi only mentioned the injuries on his body, he didn't mention anything about his strength. He wanted to talk about this with the miss and Tang Yun separately. That's good. Tang Yun nodded. What do you want to eat? I'll cook for you. It's okay, I ate a cup of instant noodles before, so I'm not hungry. Lin Yi stood up. Yun, why don't you go home first? You've been out for 3 days, uncle and auntie must be worried about you, right? Tang Yun heard Lin Yi's words and was a little disappointed. Was Lin Yi kicking her out? Plus, under normal circumstances, Lin Yi rarely called her Yun in such an intimate way in front of outsiders. Tang Yun felt that something was off. She couldn't blame Tang Yun for thinking like that. Lin Yi just woke up, and she wanted to get closer to Lin Yi, but Lin Yi told her to go home. Tang Yun felt wronged, but she was also a little envious of the miss and Yushu. Okay. But Tang Yun still nodded obediently. I'll ask you out for dinner later, why don't you go back and tell uncle and auntie that you're safe? Lin Yi felt Tang Yun's disappointment and knew that she misunderstood, but there were some things that Lin Yi couldn't explain in front of the three of them. Tang Yun heard that Lin Yi wanted to ask her out later, and she was happy again. Okay, I'll wait for your call. Lin Yi's weird actions made Meng Yaro suspicious. After Tang Yun left, the miss frowned. Why did you let Tang Yun go? I'd like to invite you out for a meal to celebrate your recovery from a serious illness. After spending 3 days together, Miss and Tang Yun had developed a subtle friendship between them. There's no rush. Lin Yi shook his head, and his expression suddenly became serious. Yaro, Shu, there's something important I need to tell you. What is it? Meng Yaro froze. She didn't think that Lin Yi would talk to her in such a serious tone. Just say it. Yeah, shield bro, your expression is so scary. Yushu also wasn't used to Lin Yi's tone. Ha! Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Then I'll tell you the truth. Although my injuries are healed, I lost my strength. Lost your strength. What do you mean? Meng Yaro paused. She didn't understand what Lin Yi meant. To put it simply, I'm like a normal person now. Lin Yi pretended to be relaxed. When I fought with Ma Zhu, I used that ultimate move, but it wasn't an ultimate move at all. I used it with the intention of dying with him. Although I came back to life, that move was a move that would destroy both sides. Ma Zhu was crippled by me, but I wasn't much better off. My strength dropped drastically as well. Chapter 906. Lin Yi resigned. Yeah, what do I have to do to help you recover? Yushu asked anxiously. I've read in martial arts novels that the main character needs to dual cultivate with someone to recover his strength. Is that true? Does he need Yaro to sacrifice herself? Phut! Lin Yi almost burst out laughing at Yushu's words. This girl was a clown. Lin Yi was used to her personality, and he didn't want to part with her. But there were some things he had to make a choice. Shu, don't interrupt. Listen to Lin Yi. Meng Yaro glared at Yu Shu. She couldn't help but think that if it was really like what Shu said, that they had to use that method to help Lin Yi recover his strength, would she accept it? Maybe. Maybe. After all, he lost his strength because of her. He almost lost his life. So what if she made some sacrifices? It wasn't because of the relationship between a man and a woman, but because a life for a life. It was her compensation to him. Meng Yaro comforted herself like that. But why would he stay with her when he had Tang Yun? Meng Yaro shook her head and threw those unrealistic thoughts to the back of her head. You've been fooled by those novels. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Those are all excuses the main characters find for their lustful behavior. Then are you lustful, shield bro? Yu Shu asked. Lin Yi couldn't answer that. It was human nature. He didn't want to lie. Shu, what's with all the bullshit? Don't disturb him, let him talk. How can he recover his strength? Meng Yaro glared at Yu Shu as she scolded, annoyed. Oh, okay. Then tell me, shield bro. How can I recover my strength? Yaro and I will be your strongest shield. Yu Shu nodded. How? Lin Yi sighed softly. I haven't found a way to recover yet, so I'm actually resigning today. You are leaving? Meng Yaro froze and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. Lin Yi's words were too much of a shock to her. She couldn't accept it. Why did he suddenly want to leave when everything was fine just now? Lin Yi nodded. I'm going to find a way to recover my strength. Can't we find it here? Meng Yaro was starting to panic. I took Uncle Chu's money and came here to accompany you, but I have lost the ability to protect you. Why should I stay here? Lin Yi shrugged. Don't worry. After I leave, Uncle Chu will find a new follower for you. Maybe he'll be more obedient than me and won't make you angry. Meng Yaro wanted to say, I don't want you, I want you. However, the words were stuck at the tip of her tongue, and she couldn't say them. She looked at Lin Yi in a daze, feeling that this was a bit unreal. Was he really going to leave? So soon? Oh, it's fine. You have money anyway. You don't care about that 30,000. You don't need a salary. Yaro sis and I will take care of you. Yu Shu didn't think as much as Meng Yaro. She said without hesitation. When you recover your strength, you can ask for a raise. Lin Yi smiled. Don't say stupid things, Shu. You're not stupid, are you? Yu Shu looked at Lin Yi in shock. Her eyes were wide open, and she finally lowered her head and didn't say anything. You really want to leave? I know that you don't care about that 30,000. Meng Yaro bit her lips and looked at Lin Yi. You said that we're friends. You lost your strength because of us. How could we kick you out just because of that? Do you think that I, Meng Yaro, would do something like that? Lin Yi looked at the miss. He didn't want to leave, but he was clear-headed. I'm the one who asked to leave. It has nothing to do with you. All right, I'll leave first. Before I leave, I need to talk to Tang Yun. You. Meng Yaro looked at Lin Yi, wanting to say something. She shut her mouth after seeing Lin Yi get up and walk towards the villa's door. Lin Yi left just like that, disappearing from Meng Yaro and Yu Shu's sight. Meng Yaro retracted her gaze. She didn't know if it was melancholy or something else, but she wasn't in a good mood. Meng Yao's good mood from Lin Yi's recovery disappeared at this moment. It was as if she had lost something precious. She had the urge to cry, but when she looked at Shu beside her, she didn't cry. Yaro, you have to be strong. How can you cry for a man? If he wants to leave, then so be it. It's not that you want to let him down, it's that he wants to leave. Although Meng Yaro said that in her heart, she really felt terrible. Yaro sis, is Shield Bro really leaving? Yu Shu asked. It's true. Meng Yaro nodded. But I don't want him to leave. Yu Shu said honestly. I know, but we can't stop him. Meng Yaro shook her head. Not even Uncle Chu? Yu Shu asked suddenly. Daddy. Meng Yaro paused. She suddenly remembered that her dad had found Lin Yi. Would Lin Yi listen to her dad? He should, right? Otherwise, why would he come all the way here for 30,000 yuan and do such a hard job? Meng Yao's eyes lit up at the thought as she stumbled to the phone and dialed Peng Zhan's number. Yao Yao? How's Lin Yi? Is he awake? Peng Zhan had just gotten off work when he received his daughter's call. He didn't hire a chauffeur for the past few days, so he didn't hire a chauffeur. He was used to driving himself. Yeah. Meng Yao nodded. Daddy, but Lin Yi's leaving. He's resigning. Resigning? Why? Peng Zhan blinked. Is it because it's too dangerous? Peng Zhan was worried when Lin Yi was unconscious. This time, Lin Yi was in too much danger. Meng Yao had already told him about the process. Lin Yi almost lost his life. No. His injuries are healed, but he doesn't have his skills anymore. Meng Yao said. He said that he's like a normal person now. He can't protect me and Shu anymore. He's resigning. Chapter 907. Marriage Matters. Peng Zhan arrived at the villa to see his daughter and Shu sitting on the sofa, not watching TV or doing anything else. He couldn't help but sigh. Yao Yao, what happened? We didn't make it clear on the way here. Can you tell me in detail and we can think of a solution together? Daddy. Meng Yao wanted to cry, but Shu was there, and she had to maintain the image of a big sister. She took a deep breath and controlled her emotions, telling Peng Zhan everything that had happened. But Lin Yi didn't go into too much detail, so Meng Yao repeated his words to Peng Zhan, who fell into deep thought as well. Chem. I got a general idea of what Lin Yi is thinking from what he said. Peng Zhan sighed. First, he wants to leave because he doesn't have the strength to protect you anymore. But that's not a big deal. Being a follower doesn't mean that he needs to protect you. I can hire another bodyguard for you, but that's not a big deal. But the key is Lin Yi's attitude. Whether he's willing to stay or not, I'll have to talk to him about this. Secondly, little Yi is afraid that after he loses his strength, he will attract revenge from his enemies. This problem, if I hire a powerful bodyguard, then it won't be a problem. So, I need to know what little Yi is thinking. Okay. Meng Yao nodded, relieved after hearing her father's words. Yao, didn't you want to kick Lin Yi out before? Peng Zhan couldn't help but tease. Now that Lin Yi is quitting, why don't you agree? That's different from before. He's our savior now, how can we be ungrateful? Meng Yao said as she looked at Shu. Right, Shu? Yeah, Yao has already decided to marry him. Shu nodded. Meng Yao almost exploded from anger. Why did you have to go along with it? Just say yeah, why did you have to say all that bullshit? Yao, come with me. Peng Zhan said after a pause. He stood up and waved at his daughter. Oh! Meng Yao blinked. What was it that they couldn't talk about in the living room? There was only Shu in the living room. She wasn't an outsider. Meng Yao, however, saw that her father was already walking towards Lin Yi's room. Meng Yao had no choice but to follow. Peng Zhan walked into Lin Yi's room and waited for Meng Yao to come in before closing the door. Yao, have a seat. Oh, Daddy, what's the matter? You still want to hide it from Shu? Meng Yao looked at her father in confusion. She was afraid that Shu would be unhappy. In the past, Shu would never hide anything from her. Shu, on the other hand, wasn't unhappy at all. She was just a little curious, and after Peng Zhan and Meng Yao entered the room, Shu made her way to Lin Yi's room and listened carefully. Yao, tell Daddy the truth. Do you like Lin Yi? Peng Zhan looked at his daughter and asked after some hesitation. Meng Yao froze. She looked at Peng Zhan dumbfoundedly and blushed. Dad, what are you talking about? Why would I like Lin Yi? Ha. Peng Zhan looked at his daughter's nervous expression and laughed. Then do you want Lin Yi to stay? I do. Meng Yao stuttered. But, what does this have to do with liking Lin Yi? You need to have a good reason if you want Lin Yi to stay, right? Peng Zhan smiled. Lin Yi is a man of integrity. He's injured and can't carry out his duties anymore. That's why he's resigning. Think about it, if we told him that we'd take care of him and let him stay in the villa, with his personality, would he accept it? Meng Yao paused and shook her head slowly. Lin Yi might look shameless sometimes, but he was a man of principle. It would be very difficult for him to stay. I don't think so. Otherwise, he would have stayed long ago. So, if you want Lin Yi to stay, You need a good reason, Peng Zhan said. But Lin Yi isn't related to us at all. Why would he stay? Meng Yaro was starting to understand what her daddy was saying. If Lin Yi was her boyfriend, then perhaps he'd stay. But was he really? He wasn't. In other words, if Lin Yi becomes a family with us, why would he leave? Peng Zhan looked at his daughter's embarrassed face. He didn't expect her to admit anything, but he could guess what she was thinking. I want you to marry Lin Yi. What do you think? Meng Yao's eyes widened. She looked at her father in disbelief. She had long noticed that her father's attitude towards Lin Yi was unusual. After the first family dinner, Meng Yaro discussed this with Yu Shu. Yu Shu's answer was that either Uncle Chu wanted Lin Yi to be his son-in-law, or Lin Yi was his illegitimate child. Now, it seemed that her father had been thinking about this all along. Meng Yaro was shocked. Did her father really want her to marry Lin Yi? Was it true? Then, should he agree to it? Meng Yao's breathing quickened. There was a voice in her heart urging her to agree. Agree. Isn't this what you want? However, another cold voice sounded. Lin Yi had a girlfriend. Lin Yi has a girlfriend, Meng Yaro said. That's just a girlfriend. They're not married yet. Peng Zhan narrowed his eyes. He looked at his daughter and said with a smile that wasn't a smile. You have to fight for it. I just want to ask your opinion. Meng Yaro blushed. She didn't know how to answer. After a while, she said shyly, marriage is a big thing. I don't have anyone I like. If Daddy wants to help me, I'll reluctantly agree. Anyway, he saved my life, so I should repay him. Ha. Peng Zhan smiled. It seemed that his daughter's attitude towards Lin Yi had changed a lot without him noticing. Then I'll talk to Lin Yi and see what he thinks. Okay. Meng Yaro nodded shyly. Chapter 908. What about me? What about me? What about me? Yu Shu ran in. Yaro, you're so mean, how could you forget about me? Meng Yaro almost jumped out of her chair, startled by Yu Shu's sudden appearance. She couldn't hide things like this from Yu Shu, but Meng Yaro was still very nervous right now. Someone barging in just like that was enough to scare her. Peng Zhan, on the other hand, didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect Yu Shu to hear it even though he was trying to avoid her. Ha, how could I forget about you? Peng Zhan smiled as he looked at his daughter's best friend. He knew Yu Shu's personality very well. She was crazy all the time, but she was very close to his daughter. If it were possible, they'd be good sisters for life. I'm the small wife, right, Yaro? You promised me, don't tell me you're going back on your word now. Yu Shu seemed to have heard everything Peng Zhan and Meng Yaro had said. When did I go back on my word? Meng Yaro didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Buy one get one free, I bet that Lin Yi would be very happy. Peng Zhan looked at his daughter and didn't see any hidden emotions in her expression. He let out a sigh of relief and smiled. Shu, if you want to get married, and Yaro doesn't mind, I don't mind either. But you have to talk to the Chen family yourself. Peng Zhan wasn't a stubborn man. He was just a normal businessman, but for some reason, he'd come into contact with some hidden houses and sects, even higher existences. He didn't have much of an objection to his daughter and Shu marrying Lin Yi at the same time, as long as his daughter was happy. As for Yu Shu's house Chen, it was up to Yu Shu herself to convince them. He couldn't help much. Oh, really? Yu Shu paused, looking at Peng Zhan strangely. She'd always been one to mix truth with falsehood, and this time, she'd used the same tone to speak to Peng Zhan half-jokingly. She wanted to see what Peng Zhan's reaction would be, but Peng Zhan's attitude was completely unperturbed. He'd only asked for Meng Yao's opinion. Peng Zhan smiled and didn't say anything. He stood up and walked out of the room, thinking that it would be impossible for the two of them to be apart for the rest of their lives. It was rare for them to be this close, but Lin Yi was still a problem. Lin Yi had a girlfriend in school. What was his attitude towards her? Peng Zhan wasn't sure. It seemed that his daughter had acted a little too late. Lin Yi had only been in Songshan for a little more than a month, but he had already established his own network. Even Liu Tianyi listened to him. Father was right, Lin Yi was a talent, his future was limitless. Zhen Dazhou looked at his son, who had become a eunuch, and Ma Zhu, who had lost half of his arm, in disbelief. How was this possible? Wasn't Ma Zhu a mystic mid-phase peak at the 8th level of his golden shield? How did he get beaten up like this? Wasn't Lin Yi just a mystic early phase peak? There was such a huge gap between the two, and Ma Zhu had a godly skill protecting him. How did he lose? Yarrow Wang, how's the situation? Is there any hope for my son to recover? Zhen Dazhou regretted it. If he hadn't wanted to deal with Lin Yi and let Meng Yarrow and Yu Shu go after getting the money, this wouldn't have happened. He wasn't willing to accept it, and besides the regret, there was a deep hatred. Lin Yi, Zhen Dazhou, wouldn't have lived in this world if I didn't kill him. No. King Pharmacist shook his head. Although I'm called King Pharmacist, it's only because of my excellent medical skills. Your son's balls were shot by a bullet. Unless I have the ability to make a dead tree bloom and bear fruit, it's impossible for this thing to regenerate. Dad, I don't want to be a eunuch, I haven't had enough fun, sob sob sob. Jin Yingjun cried. He hated Lin Yi to the core. Although Lin Yi turned him into a eunuch, it was just a fake one. But now, he was a real eunuch. Although it was all Yushu's fault, Jin Yingjun hated Lin Yi. If it wasn't for Lin Yi who injured Ma Zhu, Yushu wouldn't have the chance to take advantage of him. In the end, it was all because of Lin Yi. He wanted Lin Yi to die, and he couldn't be more dead. Son, don't worry. Even if I have to go bankrupt, I'll treat you. Zhen Dazhou clenched his teeth. Although he earned a lot of money, he didn't have any descendants. What was the use of money? Zhao Qibing's eyes lit up when he heard that Zhen Dazhou was going bankrupt to treat Zhen Yingjun. He knew that Zhen Dazhou just got 250 million from Pengzhan, and he was drooling over it. If he could get this 250 million, the damage from the collapse of the skyscraper would be nothing. Building another grand skyscraper wouldn't be a dream anymore. With that in mind, Zhao Qibing said to Yarrowang, Yarrowang, can you think of another way? Can you treat Zhen Yingjun? This. I'll think about it. I'll look up some information and see if there's any good way. Yarrowang knew that Zhao Qibing didn't want to give up such a good opportunity to earn money, but he couldn't think of any good way to treat Zhen Yingjun right now. Although Yawang's main purpose was to trick people, there were techniques to it. He didn't just lie randomly. It wasn't wrong for him to treat people more and more sick, but the premise was that he had to cure one disease and create another one. Zhen Yingjuan's current condition made him feel helpless. However, in order to earn money for Master Bing, Yarrowang thought that he should think about it carefully and see if he could come up with a solution. Okay, thanks for the trouble, Yarrowang. Zhen Dazhou didn't know that Zhao Qibing and Yarrowang wanted to continue scamming money. He thought that after this period of contact, they got familiar with each other and formed a friendship, so Yarrowang couldn't just sit back and do nothing. Sure. Yarrowang nodded. Right, Master Ma, what did the boss say? Zhen Dazhou turned to Ma Zhu. Ma Zhu was also in a miserable state, his body was covered in bandages. The boss is fine, my master will send some of his brothers over. Ma Zhu said sadly. He was the youngest and most promising disciple in the sect, and he had reached the 8th level of Golden Shield at such a young age. He was a physical practitioner at the peak of the middle phase of Mystic Division, and he was the hope of the entire sect. Chapter 909. Yawang's suspicion he was crippled. Not only did he lose an arm, but half of his body was also destroyed. Even if the half of his body was not injured, it was still injured by the explosion. He only had the strength of the 3rd level of the Golden Bell Shield left. He could still be a hooligan, but it was impossible for him to be a master. Even if he recovered and started training from the beginning, it would be much more difficult due to the loss of an arm. Plus, even if he started training from the beginning, how long would it take for him to regain his current strength? Luckily, his master heard that he was beaten up like this and said that he would avenge him. His master already promised him that once he arranged things in the sect, he would send a new master over to his boss side and come to Songshan to avenge him. He was going to kill Lin Yi and House Chu. That's good. Dazhou didn't have the strength to deal with Lin Yi at the moment, so he could only rely on Ma Zhu. Ma Zhu had the same hatred as him, and he didn't believe that Ma Zhu would take this lying down. Dazhou pretended to ask casually, Master Ma, what did your master say about Lin Yi injuring you this badly? Me. Lin Yi is going to die. My master is going to kill Lin Yi and Peng Zhan's families. Ma Zhu didn't hide it and smiled coldly. They are all going to die. Ma Zhu didn't doubt that Lin Yi and Chu Pengzhan wouldn't die after his master left the mountain. It didn't matter how many helpers they found, they were all going to die. It was hard to say if his master could kill the helpers they found, but no matter how strong these helpers were, they wouldn't be able to kill his master. The reason was simple. His master had completed his golden bell shield, and he had no weaknesses. Even an Earth-class peak master's attack wouldn't have any effect on him. Even if Lin Yi's master came and used the same chi bomb on him, it wouldn't work. Golden bell shield was undefeatable. Ma Zhu's master was called Invincible Jin. Of course, he wasn't called Invincible Jin before, but after completing his golden bell shield, he changed his name to Invincible Jin. Even if a road roller passed by him, he wouldn't be injured, let alone a normal master. Great. If there's anything you need our Zhen family's help with, Grandpa Ma, feel free to let us know. Zhen Dazhou was overjoyed. There was hope for revenge this time. On the other hand, Zhen Yingjun was overjoyed. Lin Yi was dead this time. We'll talk about this when the time comes. Ma Zhu was frustrated. Even if he killed Lin Yi and Peng Zhan, it wouldn't be enough to compensate for the damage he had suffered. He was crippled, completely crippled. What should he do in the future? But Ma Zhu is injured like this, but Lin Yi is fine. Zhao Qibing didn't believe that Ma Zhu's master could kill Lin Yi. When Zhen Yingjun found Ma Zhu, he said that he could definitely kill Lin Yi. What about now? Zhen Yingjun was crippled, Ma Zhu was also crippled, and these two cripples sent him money again. Although Zhao Qibing could earn a lot of money, he wanted Lin Yi to die more. If Ma Zhu really killed Lin Yi, Zhao Qibing would rather not earn his medical fees, or even give him some money. Logically speaking, Lin Yi should be heavily injured as well, Yarawang sighed. Yarawang sighed and said, according to my analysis, Lin Yi's injury this time is very serious and fatal. If he could blow Ma Zhu up like this, he probably isn't any better. If I'm not wrong, his meridians are all broken. Broken meridians? Doesn't that mean he's a cripple? Although Zhao Qibing didn't practice, he understood the situation of a practitioner. Yes. Yarawang nodded, even if he's a doctor, I'm afraid he can't recover to his original state. So, Lin Yi should be the weakest right now, that makes sense. Zhao Qibing nodded. He was about to say something when he raised his head and saw Cihua walking in. He quickly asked, Cihua, you're back just in time, what did the people you sent out say? Lin Yi seems to be fine. He left House Chu's villa as if he wasn't injured at all, but I didn't see Li Fu. I think he either didn't recover or died. Cihua said. Lin Yi recovered? That's impossible. Yarawang was shocked. Is his medical skills really that good? How can he recover from such a serious injury? He can use pure qi to heal himself. Could it be that his strength has recovered? Ma Zhu froze and hatred appeared on his face. If Lin Yi was in a miserable state, he would feel better. However, Lin Yi was perfectly fine. This was unacceptable. I'm not sure. Is he really that good? Yarawang frowned and said in disbelief. Is Lin Yi not human? Fuck, how can he be so strong? Zhao Qibing's eyes widened. Fortunately, he was prepared for this. Lin Yi was the same before. He didn't have much confidence in those who boasted that they could kill Lin Yi in one hit. He was confident that Lin Yi wouldn't die. This guy was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. No. Yarawang suddenly slapped his thigh. You said you didn't see Li Fu? Yeah, Li Fu didn't appear. Peng Zhan has been driving by himself these days. Cihua said. Ha 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 ha. I know, this time, Lin Yi is injured too. He doesn't have extra pure qi to heal Li Fu anymore. Yarawang laughed. I'm afraid that the reason Lin Yi can go out now is because his injuries are healed on the surface. In fact, his strength hasn't recovered yet. Oh. If that's the case, then it's a good chance to deal with Lin Yi. Ma Zhu's eyes suddenly burned with hatred. I'm just guessing, but let me give you a piece of advice, Mr. Ma Zhu. With your injuries, you shouldn't fight Lin Yi. Yarawang shook his head and said faintly, even if his strength hasn't recovered, you've lost most of your strength. You're not much different from him. Don't even talk about Lin Yi. With your current condition, you won't be able to escape even if you're surrounded by a few strong men." Although Yao Wang's words were harsh, Ma Zhu knew that Yao Wang was speaking the truth. He couldn't help but lower his head. Indeed, with his current half-baked strength, he wasn't anyone's opponent at all. Half of his body was broken, and he didn't have any good attacks. He used to rely on his sturdy body to fight randomly, but now, even if he met a few strong men, they could kill him, because half of his body was no different from a normal person. Chapter 910. Chapter 909. Lin Yi's final decision. Haha, Ma Zhu, aren't we thinking the same thing? Chibing smiled helplessly. Both of my skyscrapers were destroyed by Lin Yi, and even my legs were broken by Lin Yi. Don't I want him dead? I want him dead too. But I know that I can't kill him with my current strength. I can only wait for my father to send a master, or for Lin Yi's other enemies to kill him. Ma Zhu nodded, knowing that Chibing was telling the truth. Does Lin Yi have any enemies recently? At a time like this, shouldn't we let his enemies do it? Chibing turned to Zihua and asked. Chem. Other than Jian Wen, there's only Zhong Pingliang left. Zihua said helplessly. I only know of these two, but Jian Wen has been quiet lately, and Zhong Pingliang is with you, Master Bing. None of them are a match for Lin Yi. Oh right, when Xiao Ji from the Xiao family came to visit me a few days ago, he seemed to have asked about Peng Zhan and the masters around him. Oh. Then did you receive them? Did you tell him about Peng Zhan? Chibing asked. The Xiao family never had any grudges with us, and our relationship was quite good. I heard that they were about to be kicked out of the noble house list by House Yu, but a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. The Xiao family is still useful, so I didn't neglect them. Zihua said. As for Peng Zhan, of course I told him. From his tone, it was obvious that he had a grudge against Peng Zhan, so I told Xiao Ji about the two masters around Peng Zhan. But when Xiao Ji heard that Lin Yi was a mystic early phase, he hesitated and didn't say anything else. Oh. How about this, you find a few hooligans to test Lin Yi and see if he still has the strength. If he really doesn't have the strength, we'll spread the news. Chibing thought about it. I don't believe that Lin Yi and Peng Zhan don't have any other enemies other than us. It seems like the Xiao family wants to deal with them as well. We just have to sit back and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Yes. Zihua nodded and left. After leaving the villa, Lin Yi drove to Peng Zhan department store. He needed to make some preparations before his date with Tang Yun. Lin Yi didn't hide from the people around the mansion. Lin Yi roughly guessed that they were sent by Zhao Qibing. After Zhen Yingjun and Ma Zhu were injured, they would definitely go to Zhao Yaowang for treatment. It was normal for Zhao Qibing to send people to spy on him. So, the more Lin Yi didn't care about them and acted as if nothing happened, the more he could confuse people and make them think that Lin Yi had recovered all his strength. However, Lin Yi didn't think about Forbert. He neglected the fact that Zhao Qibing had even spied on Forbert. But, even if Lin Yi knew about it, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. He'd only healed the external wounds on his body, and the internal injuries in his meridians hadn't healed at all. There was no way he could treat Uncle Fu. Lin Yi drove to Peng Zhan department store openly to make people think that he wasn't injured. Lin Yi had to hide this news as much as possible before Peng Zhan found a useful master. Lin Yi wanted to leave tomorrow, but Zheningjuan's problem wasn't completely solved yet. If Peng Zhan didn't find a substitute bodyguard, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to leave peacefully. So, Lin Yi could only hold on and be careful to keep a low profile so that others wouldn't be able to use it against him. However, what Lin Yi didn't expect was that Yaowang had already guessed his true strength and was secretly launching a test plan. Lin Yi parked his car in the underground parking lot of Peng Zhan department store and asked the security guard before coming to the jewelry area on the first floor of Peng Zhan department store. Hello sir, would you like to choose jewelry? Lin Yi just arrived in front of a counter called Liu Weishan Jewelry Store and a shopping guide walked over and asked enthusiastically. Yes. Lin Yi nodded. He didn't expect this jewelry store to have such good service. Lin Yi wanted to look around casually, but Lin Yi decided to buy here. In fact, in Peng Zhan department store, every jewelry store's goods were similar. The main difference was the service. Sir, what do you want to choose? Use it yourself or give it to a friend? The shopping guide asked. I want to buy a ring for my girlfriend, Lin Yi said. Ring? Girlfriend? The shopping guide nodded. Is it a normal gift or a proposal ring? A proposal ring. Lin Yi sighed slightly. She was the first girl who confirmed a relationship with him. Before leaving, Lin Yi made a decision. Here, sir. Look, these are all wedding rings. What price range do you want? We have rings from thousands to tens of thousands. The shopping guide pointed at a ring in the counter. Just this one. How much is it? Lin Yi wasn't good at jewelry, and he didn't know how to choose. He chose a ring that looked like a diamond because Lin Yi heard that the bigger the diamond, the better the diamond. This one. The salesgirl jumped. Lin Yi had his eyes on the treasure of the store. After all, her heart jumped. If she sold it, how much commission would she get? She just came to work 2 days ago. If she could really make this deal, it would be a big profit. What's wrong? Lin Yi saw the shopping guide hesitating, so he asked. It's nothing. The shopping guide shook her head and said, this ring is the treasure of our store. It's locked in the counter. Please wait a moment. I'll call the manager and ask him to open it for you. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. When the shopping guide just wanted to make a phone call, a shopping guide from a store called Yunguangdu Jewelry looked at the shopping guide in front of Lin Yi with some sarcasm. You first ask him if he can buy it before you make a phone call. You call all day long. Just the phone bill is a waste. Lin Yi frowned. He thought, I'm buying jewelry. What does it have to do with her? Is she jealous because I didn't buy it from her store? However, Lin Yi didn't want to cause trouble at the moment. He also suppressed his anger and didn't say anything. I'm sorry, sir. Please ignore her. The shopping guide smiled at Lin Yi with a little embarrassment and then continued to call. Chapter 9:11. Something important to tell you. In fact, this Yun Guangdou jewelry saleswoman could tell that Lin Yi wanted to buy it, but she didn't think that Lin Yi could afford it. She just wanted to ruin his business. It's nothing, I'll buy this one. Call the manager to take it out. I don't need to look at it, just take me to the card. Lin Yi was a bit annoyed, but he was too lazy to argue with her. He was now walking around with the principle of being low-key. Ah, just like that. The saleswoman was shocked. She didn't think that Lin Yi would buy it without even looking at it. She couldn't help but be stunned. Buying such an expensive thing without looking at it carefully. But when she saw the diamond card Lin Yi took out, she immediately understood that Lin Yi had the ability to do so. She secretly rejoiced in her heart. Good people will be rewarded. Her principle of serving passionately was not wrong, and the saleswoman from Yun Guangdou Jewelry was a bit dumbfounded. Those who could take out this kind of diamond VIP card were big clients of the company. These people all had the ability to talk to the higher-ups. Thinking of her sharp words just now, if Lin Yi told the higher-ups of the mall, not only would she lose her job, but even her boss's brand would be removed from the mall. Thinking of this, the saleswoman's face immediately changed. She wanted to say a few words to Lin Yi, but Lin Yi had already turned around to swipe the card. In fact, Lin Yi didn't want to argue with this saleswoman at all. With the 300,000 yuan ring, Lin Yi drove in the direction of the hospital. Tang Yun's house hadn't been renovated yet, so she was still living in the hospital. Lin Yi called Tang Yun and asked her to wait for him at the entrance of the hospital. When Lin Yi arrived at the hospital, Tang Yun had already come out and stood at the entrance. The breeze gently blew her hair and skirt. Under the sunset, she looked like a silhouette of a beautiful girl, just like the first time Lin Yi saw her. Who? Lin Yi took a deep breath. He had made up his mind, but Lin Yi didn't know Tang Yun's decision yet. However, no matter what Tang Yun chose, Lin Yi would support her. Yun. Lin Yi opened the window and called Tang Yun. Tang Yun seemed to be in good spirits. She turned around and saw Lin Yi. She couldn't help but smile sweetly. She quickly ran over and opened the door. This feeling is so good. I even thought that the previous 3 days were just a dream. You didn't seem to be injured. Ah. Lin Yi heard Tang Yun's words and couldn't help but smile bitterly. He didn't know how to respond to Tang Yun. He didn't know what to say. What's wrong? Tang Yun saw that Lin Yi's smile seemed to be a bit strange and asked curiously. Nothing. Let's find a place to eat first. What do you want to eat? Lin Yi changed the topic. Okay. Tang Yun nodded. You just recovered from a serious illness. Of course, you can eat whatever you want. My mom wanted to barbecue for you, but it can't be done in the hospital. Maybe after the new house is renovated. After the new house was renovated. Where would he be at that time? He would probably be back in his hometown. Then let's have a starry night. Lin Yi hadn't brought Tang Yun to such a high-class hotel before. It wasn't that Lin Yi couldn't afford it. It was that Lin Yi wasn't a person who cared about extravagance. He wasn't very interested in these high-class hotels. But today, it was his and Tang Yun's last dinner. It was a farewell dinner. Lin Yi wanted to eat solemnly. Even if Tang Yun didn't agree with his decision, it would still be a beautiful memory for him. Seeing Lin Yi drive the car into the parking lot of the Starry Night Hotel, Tang Yun was a bit surprised. This place is very expensive, right? Why are we here all of a sudden? It's just the two of us. We can just eat something simple. Didn't you say that I just recovered from a serious illness? Then let's come here to celebrate. Lin Yi said. If that's the case, okay. Tang Yun was a bit distressed. She wasn't a greedy and vain girl. Her personality was completely different from her mother. From Tang Yun's perspective, even if you were poor, you had to have a backbone. Lin Yi asked for a small private room. Because it was an ordinary private room, he didn't need to make a reservation in advance. The best hotels Tang Yun had been to were the Pengzhan Business Hotel and the Starlight Hotel that Miss had treated them to. Lin Yi passed the menu to Tang Yun. Tang Yun flipped through the menu and was shocked. The dishes inside were really expensive. The price of an ordinary dish was enough to eat a meal outside. Tang Yun really didn't dare to order it. She hesitated for a bit and returned the menu to Lin Yi. You can order it, ha. Lin Yi knew what Tang Yun was thinking. He casually ordered a few dishes and sent the waiter out. He came here mainly to have a showdown with Tang Yun, not to eat. Waste of money. Tang Yun looked at Lin Yi and pouted. Although she knew that Lin Yi could earn money, she didn't like to waste it. Money could be spent in the right place, but a meal like this didn't necessarily taste good. Tang Yun's heart ached when she spent a lot of money. Ha, I'm not married yet and you're already controlling me? Lin Yi laughed. How about it? Do you want to be controlled? Tang Yun's beautiful eyes widened as she looked at Lin Yi. Ha, okay, as long as you are willing to control me. When Lin Yi said this, although he was smiling, it was a little sad. Only if you don't want me. Tang Yun heard Lin Yi's reply and was a little proud. I'm afraid that you don't want me. Lin Yi's expression became serious as he said solemnly. Tang Yun froze and looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Although Lin Yi's words were a joke, Lin Yi's expression made Tang Yun confused. Why are you so serious? Lin Yi just wanted to answer, but there was a knock on the door and the waiter began to serve the dishes. The dishes Lin Yi ordered were all simple stir-fried dishes, nothing complicated. It didn't take long for everything to be served. This was also Lin Yi's intention. The goal was to prevent the waiters from interrupting him and Tang Yun's conversation. Tang Yun, I asked you out this time because I have something very important to tell you. Lin Yi waited for the waiter to leave and said. Chapter 9:12. I do. Tang Yun was a little perturbed. Could it be that Lin Yi didn't want her anymore? His relationship with Meng Yaro and Yu Shu was getting better and better, and she couldn't compare to them at all. It was possible that Lin Yi asked her out to break up with her. Plus, it was the first time Lin Yi asked her out to eat at such a high-class restaurant. This made Tang Yun's heart beat faster and faster. Yun, actually, my injuries aren't completely healed. Lin Yi decided to make it short. He didn't need any foreshadowing. Tang Yun knew about his injuries from Meng Yaro and Yu Shu, so Lin Yi only needed to get to the point. Although my external injuries are healed, my strength is gone, Oa. Would that be a big deal? Will it be dangerous? Tang Yun was shocked and asked subconsciously. She didn't expect that Lin Yi wanted to talk to her about this. Although, it wasn't that Lin Yi wanted to dump her, but the fact that Lin Yi was talking about his injuries in such a serious manner meant that it must be very serious. So Tang Yun was very worried. It won't be dangerous because of my injuries, but if my enemies know that I've lost my strength, I'm afraid that I'll be in danger. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Ah, then why are you telling me? You shouldn't tell anyone. Tang Yun was shocked. But I won't tell anyone, I'll keep your secret. Ha! Yun, you misunderstand. Lin Yi smiled. Seeing Tang Yun's nervous reaction calmed him down a lot. Tang Yun cared about him. Misunderstand? Tang Yun paused. Yes, I'm telling you this because I've already resigned from Mengyaro. I won't be their bodyguard anymore. Lin Yi said. Tang Yun heard Lin Yi's words and was slightly surprised, but she was happy. Although Lin Yi had lost his strength, he had left Mengyaro and Yushu. Wasn't this what she wanted to see? Where will you live in the future? Tang Yun's face reddened. Why don't you move in after my new house is renovated? Ha ha. Lin Yi looked at the shy Tang Yun and his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't easy for the conservative Tang Yun to say something like this. However, Lin Yi could only shake his head. I've said it before. If I don't recover my strength, my enemies might come looking for me. I can't drag you guys down with me. Then you mean? Tang Yun suddenly felt uneasy, as if something big was about to happen. The joy of Lin Yi not being Meng Yao's bodyguard vanished in an instant. I'm leaving Songshan, going back to my hometown. Lin Yi was a little sad when he said this, but he still had to say it. The music ends and the people leave. This was the law. You don't want me anymore? You really don't want me anymore? Tang Yun felt as if her heart was hit by a hammer. It hurt so much. Although she had thought about what would happen if Lin Yi didn't want her anymore, she didn't think that this day would come so soon. It's not that I don't want you anymore. It's that you don't want me anymore. Lin Yi was shocked by Tang Yun's reaction. In his memory, Tang Yun was a strong person. I don't want you anymore. Why wouldn't I want you anymore? Tang Yun wanted to cry. She didn't understand what Lin Yi meant and thought that he was making excuses. I don't have my strength anymore. I won't be as famous as I am now. I'll be very poor. Do you still want me? Lin Yi could basically confirm Tang Yun's feelings. It seemed that he didn't buy the ring for nothing. However, there were some things that needed to be said clearly. Lin Yi, I'm going to bite you to death. Tang Yun was panicking. She stared at Lin Yi with her big teary eyes. In your eyes, am I someone who despises the poor and loves the rich? Am I that bad? That's my mother, not me. Tang Yun was a little angry. He actually used her mother as a comparison. But Mrs. Tang did make Tang Yun worry a lot. Ah. Lin Yi sighed. He had to tell Tang Yun the worst possibility. After all, Tang Yun was a girl from the big city. He didn't know if she could handle the boredom in the village. It's very remote. There are no tall buildings there. It's not as prosperous as the city. There aren't even cars. A lot of people don't have telephones. They communicate with each other by shouting. The houses are very old. There's no heating in the winter. We have to burn our own firewood. There's no modern washroom. There's only public washroom. You're a girl. Can you endure all this? Of course I can. Don't forget that my family used to live in a bungalow in the slums. We also have to burn our own firewood in the winter. There's no independent washroom. It's also a public washroom. What you said is perfect for me. It's like it's tailor-made for me. Tang Yun was so excited that her words became incoherent. She finally found a sense of superiority over Miss. Ha ha. But, if I can't recover my strength in this lifetime, you'll have to stay with me in the village for the rest of your life. Are you really willing? Lin Yi heard Tang Yun's words. He was very touched. I'm willing. Tang Yun nodded firmly. She didn't care if Lin Yi had strength or not. She didn't care if Lin Yi had money or not. She only cared about Lin Yi as a person. Okay, then I'll go back first. You can finish high school or university here. Then you can come find me. Consider it as giving yourself some time to calm down. I hope you're not impulsive, Lin Yi said rationally. I'm not impulsive. Tang Yun shook her head. Tang Yun shook her head. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. But I do need to settle my parents down. I'm marrying into a rural area. I need to comfort them. But, are you just brushing me off? You don't want me anymore, do you? Tang Yun gradually regained her calmness. She looked at Lin Yi. She wanted to see if he was lying to her. He wanted to comfort her first and then leave. Ha! Lin Yi suddenly took out a small box and put it in front of Tang Yun. No, I've thought about it for a long time before I said this to you. This is for you. Tang Yun paused, but she couldn't suppress the excitement in her heart. Although she hadn't opened the box yet, she had seen similar scenes in dramas. Could it be a wedding ring? Chapter 9:13. Was it a coincidence or a plan? It's so beautiful. Tang Yun looked at the huge diamond on the ring in surprise. She couldn't contain her joy. Aren't you going to say something? Ha! Lin Yi took out the diamond ring and looked at Tang Yun. Are you really willing to come find me? I'm willing. Tang Yun nodded shyly. At this moment, she was like a bride who was about to enter the hall of marriage. Lin Yi put the ring on Tang Yun's finger and felt relieved. Although he lost his strength, he didn't know how his old man would react when he brought home a wife. Although this meal was a little sad, the atmosphere was very warm. Lin Yi was leaving, but Tang Yun wasn't disappointed. Because in the near future, she would be leaving with him. After the meal, Tang Yun put the ring back into the box before leaving the room. Why aren't you wearing it? Are you regretting? Lin Yi joked. Only an idiot would regret. I'm afraid that people will steal it. Now that you don't have any strength, I need to keep a low profile. I don't want to cause any unnecessary trouble. Tang Yun rolled her eyes at Lin Yi and carefully put the ring away. Ha! Lin Yi thought to himself. What an understanding girl. It would be nice to marry a girl like this, right? Lin Yi paid the bill and left the room with Tang Yun. What he didn't know was that Sihua's people had already made arrangements in the parking lot of Starlight Hotel. Mr. Yang, thank you for your help. Sihua nodded to the manager of Starlight Hotel. Haha, how can I not do my best when it's Master Bing's arrangement? Mr. Yang smiled at Sihua. It's not a big deal, it's nothing. Sihua nodded. Alright, Mr. Yang, you can go. There's nothing for you to do here. It's not good for you to be here. Alright, I'll be on my way then. I hope Sihua bro doesn't cause too much of a commotion and affect the shop's business. Mr. Yang said. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Sihua nodded. After Mr. Yang left, Sihua got into a big MPV on the right side of the parking lot. The windows were covered with black film, so no one could see what was going on inside. In the parking lot, another white Nissan van was also ready. It was a very old and worn-out Nissan van. If one looked closely, they would find that it was actually an assembled car. This kind of car was also very popular with some gangsters. This kind of car was cheap and could carry people. It was the most suitable car for fighting and chopping people. When the police came, they didn't even want the car. They just left it behind and ran, because the cost of a car was only a few thousand yuan. Lin Yi and Tang Yun came to the parking lot and got in the car. Lin Yi was about to start the car when the Jade sent a weak warning signal. Lin Yi and Tang Yun came to the parking lot and got into the car. Just when Lin Yi was about to start the car, the Jade sent a weak warning signal. Lin Yi was about to take a closer look when a white Nissan van stopped behind his car without any warning, completely blocking off his path to reverse. Lin Yi's car was parked in the parking lot. There were cars in front and on both sides, so he could only reverse out from the back. Lin Yi frowned. Why did this person park his car there? Was he doing it on purpose? Lin Yi honked twice to signal that he wanted to leave, but the Nissan van behind ignored him, as if it didn't hear Lin Yi's honk. Without a choice, Lin Yi got out of the car and went to the driver's side of the white Nissan van. He looked inside and saw a bald man wearing sunglasses smoking leisurely. He didn't put Lin Yi in his eyes at all. Even when Lin Yi walked over, he didn't look at him. The warning from the Jade made Lin Yi subconsciously alert. How could it be so coincidental? It made Lin Yi feel that something was wrong. Logically speaking, the people who came here to eat were people of high status. Even if these gangsters were overbearing, they wouldn't cause trouble for no reason. Could it be that these people were plotting something? However, Lin Yi didn't have any strength now. He didn't want to expose his weakness, so he could only endure his anger and knock on the white Nissan van's window. What the fuck? The bald man opened the window and blew a mouthful of smoke on Lin Yi's face. I want to go out. Can you please move the car? Lin Yi had a feeling of being bullied by a dog. In fact, even if Lin Yi lost his strength, there were many ways to kill these ordinary people. In many cases, assassins didn't rely on their own strength to kill people, but on their skills. But in public, Lin Yi couldn't kill these gangsters because of this, right? It would also be difficult for Lin Yi to get away. Go out. Go out for what? I'm waiting for people. The bald man turned a deaf ear to Lin Yi's politeness and directly refused. You wait for people, but I want to leave. Lin Yi didn't expect that he didn't want to cause trouble, but trouble came to the door. I'm waiting. Can't you wait for a while too? The bald man waved his hand impatiently. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and get out of here. Lin Yi frowned. There was a trace of ruthlessness in his eyes. He said, Isn't it wrong for you to do this? I don't want to cause trouble, but don't force me. Lin Yi wasn't a cowardly person. What would people think of him if he were to hold back and let them do what they'd think? The first thing they would suspect would be that Lin Yi had lost his strength. Otherwise, why would Lin Yi retreat? Therefore, Lin Yi couldn't endure it. He could only catch up. No matter how weak he was, he had to pretend. At this moment, Lin Yi suddenly realized how painful it was for someone who didn't have the strength to put on a show. What did you say? We're not leaving yet. After the bald man heard Lin Yi's words, he also became ruthless. He directly pulled out the car key and got out of the car. Following the bald man, 4 or 5 people who looked like gangsters got out of the van. I'll say it again. I don't want to cause trouble today. Don't force me. Lin Yi said faintly. I'm forcing you. What can you do about it? The bald man didn't seem to care about Lin Yi's threat at all. He locked the car and turned around to leave with his people. Lin Yi moved. He moved like lightning and grabbed the back of the bald man's neck. With these fighting skills, Lin Yi could also put them down. Chapter 9:14. Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat as he felt that something wasn't right. The baldie's skills weren't ordinary. How could he be an ordinary hooligan? Even though Lin Yi's strength was almost depleted and the injuries in his body hadn't healed yet, his speed and agility weren't as good as before, it was still more than enough to deal with ordinary people. However, Lin Yi's attack didn't even hit the target. What did this mean? Either Lin Yi was weaker than an ordinary person, or the baldie wasn't an ordinary person. Lin Yi knew his own condition very well, so the latter was the only possibility. The baldie was also a master. Of course, this master wasn't a practitioner, but a master who was much stronger than ordinary people. However, if the baldie wasn't an ordinary hooligan, why would he appear here? And it was obvious that he was here to cause trouble for him. Apologize. The baldie looked at Lin Yi coldly. I'll give you 3 seconds to think about it. Either kneel down and apologize to me, or I'll let my men beat you until you kneel on the ground. Lin Yi took a deep breath. It was premeditated. The enemy must have planned this. It was too much of a coincidence, as if they were putting on a show. Lin Yi didn't know what to do. Was it sent by Jin Yingjun? To test whether he was injured or not? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It seemed that he couldn't deceive others with just his appearance. If others suspected him, they would use their own methods to test him. It seemed like that was the case now. Lin Yi was in a dilemma. If he endured it, the baldie would definitely know that he hadn't recovered his strength yet. Anyone who paid attention would be able to see that he wasn't as strong as before. Otherwise, how could he make the baldie dodge his attack? If he didn't endure it, the baldie would still know about his strength. However, there was no need to endure it anymore. No matter what, his strength was exposed, and there was no need for Lin Yi to hide anymore. Let's see who will kneel in the end. As Lin Yi spoke, his body moved and he appeared behind the bald man like a ghost. With a swift and fierce chop, the bald man howled and instantly knelt on the ground. These were some of the assassination methods that Lin Yi had used to save his life, including the footwork just now. It was a set of qinggong that Lin Yi almost never used. It was a trump card that he would only use when he had no other choice. Motherfucker, brothers, go. He dared to hit Brother Baldy. Let's cripple him. Several of Baldy's underlings clamored as they surrounded Lin Yi. Can't you tell what's going on? Your boss has already knelt down. A few seconds ago, he wanted me to kneel down. Lin Yi looked at Baldy's subordinates. Drive your car away. I don't want to argue with you. Lin Yi had already exposed his strength. The only thing he could do now was to talk to Chu Pengzhan and ask him to find a bodyguard to replace him. Otherwise, he would bring a lot of trouble to Chu Pengzhan if he stayed in Songshan. Of course, he hoped that these gangsters weren't Sheningjuan's men and it was just a coincidence. This isn't the time for you to argue. You touched our boss, so you have to stay. One of Baldy's underlings pointed at Lin Yi. Otherwise, we won't be able to show our faces in the future. Fine. Lin Yi had no choice. His strength would be exposed sooner or later. The Phantom Qinggong and the chop just now could confuse the enemy to a certain extent, making them unable to see his strength clearly. The speed of Phantom Qinggong couldn't be achieved by those who didn't practice it. However, Lin Yi's technique was an exception. That chop was the most common fighting technique, but there wasn't a trace of qi in it. This way, although the enemy would be suspicious of the chop, they would be afraid of Lin Yi's Phantom Qinggong. They wouldn't be able to guess Lin Yi's strength in such a short time. When they were suspicious, it would create precious time for Lin Yi. But now, Lin Yi couldn't confuse them anymore in front of so many people. He could defeat these people with fighting techniques and not his strength. He believed that he wouldn't be able to fool those people. Half a minute later, Baldy's underlings were the same as Baldy. They all kneeled on the ground and groaned. Lin Yi didn't do anything to them. He only broke some of their limbs and ribs. This was the punishment they deserved. Lin Yi found the car key from Baldy's hand. He moved his Nissan van away and returned to his car. He drove away. During this time, not a single security guard appeared. This meant that this matter was unusual. Lin Yi had to prepare as soon as possible. Phew. Tang Yun looked at Lin Yi, who got in the car unscathed, and let out a sigh of relief. Didn't you say that you lost your strength? You scared me to death. Even if I lost my strength, I'm still a bit stronger than ordinary people, Lin Yi smiled. He didn't want Tang Yun to worry, so he didn't say his suspicions. These people are despicable. Tang Yun didn't know that this was a premeditated provocation. Where are we going now? Tang Yun didn't feel the approaching danger. She was still immersed in happiness. She looked forward to the future and the beautiful days she would have with Lin Yi. A man farming and a woman weaving, holding hands and growing old with him. Let me send you back to the hospital. I still have some things to take care of before I leave. I won't have time to look for you these 2 days, Lin Yi said. Oh. Tang Yun was a bit disappointed, but she didn't say it out loud. Lin Yi had his own things to do. Tang Yun wouldn't bother him like that. Lin Yi stopped the car in front of the hospital. Tang Yun, who was sitting in the passenger seat, didn't want to leave. She held on to Lin Yi's hand. She didn't know when they would meet again. Tang Yun didn't want to let go. Lin Yi was her first love and the firm choice she made in her life. Although it was short, it was unforgettable. Then, I'm leaving. Be careful. Tang Yun knew that this wasn't the time to be affectionate. Although she didn't want to, she still let go of Lin Yi's hand and prepared to get out of the car. Okay, I'll wait for you to find me, Lin Yi smiled. Okay. Tang Yun opened the door and got out of the car. She turned around and quickly kissed Lin Yi's cheek. Then, she turned around and ran away with a red face. Tang Yun had used her actions to prove her sincerity. Tang Yun was a conservative girl. She took the initiative to kiss Lin Yi. In her heart, she already saw herself as his woman. Lin Yi touched the place where Tang Yun kissed and couldn't help but smile. This was a girl who deserved to be protected for life, wasn't she? Chapter 9:15. Revenge must be paid. Not long after Lin Yi left the parking lot of the Starlight Hotel, Sihua got out of the MPV parked in the right corner of the parking lot. Together with Su Jiaonang and the others, they quickly carried Baldy and his men into one of the rooms. In the private room sat Yarowang and Zhao Qibing. After Sihua and Su Jiaonang carried Baldy and his men in, Yarowang started checking their injuries. Sihua bro, that kid is too strong. Our brothers got hurt doing things for you. Baldy cried out, trying to take credit. Don't worry, I'll pay you the amount I promised you. I'll even give you some medical fees. Sihua said. Stop howling, shut up if you want to be treated. Baldy shut his mouth when he heard that Sihua was going to give them medical fees. He and his men were a group of desperados, hired by Sihua from another city. Their main purpose was to test Lin Yi. Of course, Sihua didn't tell them about Lin Yi's strength. He only told them to teach Lin Yi a lesson. Baldy, naturally, agreed happily, but he didn't expect to run into a tough opponent. He and his men were all crippled. Of course, what he didn't know was that Lin Yi hadn't recovered his strength yet. Otherwise, they would have died an even worse death. Yarawang carefully checked the injuries of Baldy and his men. He waved his hand at Sihua. Send them to the hospital, I'm done. Yes. Sihua quickly ordered Su Jiaonong and the others to take Baldy out of the room. After they were gone, Sihua asked, Yarawang, how is it? Did you notice anything wrong? They're all hard injuries. There's no sign of pure energy damage. Yarawang said. Lin Yi likes to use pure energy to hurt people. From this, I can tell that Lin Yi's strength hasn't recovered yet. Can you tell me more about what happened when Lin Yi attacked? Yes. Sihua quickly told Yarawang about how Baldy came looking for trouble, and how Lin Yi made his move. The Medicine King nodded his head and laughed. If that's the case, then if my judgment is correct, Lin Yi's strength is indeed gone. What he had left was just a little bit stronger than an ordinary person's martial art. It's just a van. If it was the Lin Yi of the past, he would be able to move it with just a push. There was no need for him to look for the key to drive. Oh, does that mean that Lin Yi is really done for this time? Zhao Qibing was overjoyed. It seems like that Ma Zhu has some ability. He did cause some damage to Lin Yi. Does that mean we have a chance? Master Bing, although according to Yawang's judgment, Lin Yi has lost his strength, but we shouldn't be impatient. We should let others find trouble with Lin Yi first. We'll just sit back and watch the tigers fight. Sihua said. Let the Xiao family be the vanguard. That's right, then hurry up and spread the news that Lin Yi is injured and hasn't recovered yet, and Uncle Fu is heavily injured as well, and is about to die. Qibing cackled. Let them have their revenge, let them complain. Yes, Master Bing, I'll go spread the news right now. Sihua nodded, a sinister smile on his face as well. In a beautiful mountain forest, a young married woman in plain clothes sat in a pavilion and played the zither. The young married woman was extremely beautiful, but it was impossible to tell her age from her appearance. She could be said to be in her 30s, or maybe only in her 20s. If it weren't for her fingers moving back and forth on the zither, it would look like a painting from afar. Mountains and rivers, birds, the fragrance of flowers, and a beauty. In fact, it was hard to determine the age of the young woman. The reason why she was called a young woman instead of a young girl was because she didn't have the innocence of a young girl anymore. Instead, there was a sense of maturity and stability. However, if Lin Yi was here, he would probably shout out in surprise. The young woman's appearance was very similar to a person. It was as if they were carved from the same mold. After the song ended, the young woman raised her head sadly and looked at the mountains. Not only was she not intoxicated by the beauty of nature, she sighed with melancholy. Master, Elder Li, who is in charge of the Dark Shadow Group, has something important to discuss with you. A girl in green quickly ran to the pavilion and said respectfully, Oh, quick, invite him over. The young woman heard the words Elder Li and her melancholy face turned into joy. Yes, Palace Master. The girl in green quickly retreated. After a while, the girl in green walked over with a man in black. The man was about 50 years old and didn't have an outstanding appearance. On the contrary, he was very ordinary. He was the type that couldn't be found in a crowd. Greetings, Palace Master. The man walked over and saw the young woman called Palace Master. He cupped his fists and bowed. Elder Li is too polite. Palace Master Su Yi waved her hand, indicating that the man didn't need to be so polite. She asked anxiously, Elder Li is in such a hurry to see me. Is there something important? Yes. Elder Li looked at the girl in green beside him and hesitated. He didn't say anything. Palace Master Su Yi ordered the girl in green, "Little Qing, you can leave first. Guard the mountain path and don't let anyone come near. I have something important to discuss with Elder Li." "Yes, Palace Master." The green-clothed girl nodded and quickly pushed the door open. "Uncle Li, there are no outsiders here." "What happened?" Palace Master Su Yi stood up. She seemed to be very close to Elder Li. Elder Li waited for the girl in green to disappear before he took a few steps forward and came to the pavilion. He lowered his voice, but his expression was still respectful as he said, "Miss, it's about the young miss, she." "What happened? Did you encounter any trouble?" Palace Master Su Yi's face revealed a nervous expression when she heard Elder Li's words. "The young lady has been kidnapped," said Elder Li. However, before he could finish, Palace Master Su Yi interrupted him. "What? She has been kidnapped? Who is it? Is it serious?" Palace Master Su Yi's heart tightened and she quickly asked. Chapter 9:16. She really couldn't let it go. What? There's no one by her side to protect her. What if Zhen Yingjun takes revenge on her? Palace Master Su Yi wasn't as calm as she was when she played the zither. She was like a girl who lost her sense of propriety. Son-in-law should be able to find someone to protect young miss. When Elder Li said this, even he himself was a little uncertain. "What do we do? Uncle Li, do you have any ideas? Do you have anyone we can use?" Palace Master Su Yi asked hurriedly. "Miss, there's nothing I can do. Ever since old master left, the great elder was afraid that Miss hasn't given up, so he weakened my influence. Although I'm the first elder now, I can only mobilize the dark shadow group that I single-handedly built." Elder Li sighed and said helplessly, "The great elder has shrunk his power, and it's impossible to mobilize experts in the Palace of Darkness without the great elder's approval. But, will she be in danger?" Palace Master Su Yi frowned uneasily. Elder Li wanted to say something but was interrupted by a cold snicker. "H, how can you be so impatient? You don't look like a palace master at all." An old woman in her 60s suddenly appeared at the side of the pavilion. She looked at Elder Li and Palace Master Su Yi sternly. "Supreme Elder, why are you here?" Palace Mistress Su Yi was startled by the sudden voice. "Greetings, Grand Elder." Elder Li cupped his fists and bowed to the Grand Elder. "I'm sorry, Palace Master. The Grand Elder insisted on coming up, I didn't dare to stop her." Qing shrunk back in fear. Palace Master Su Yi shook her head. How could she blame Qing now? Little Qing was only her personal maidservant. How could she dare to stop the Grand Elder? You're the Palace Master, you need to act like one. Don't think that I don't know about you using Elder Li's Dark Shadow Group to investigate the secular world. I just turned a blind eye to it." The Grand Supreme Elder looked coldly at Palace Master Su Yi. "It's been so many years, yet you still can't let it go. Grand Elder, she is my daughter after all. The blood of our Dark Phoenix clan flows in her." Palace Master Su Yi was like a child who had done something wrong. She didn't dare to look the Grand Elder in the eye. "HMPH, daughter? It's just a little vile spawn. This kind of impure bloodline is nothing more than a disgrace to us ancient martial arts cultivators." The Grand Supreme Elder snorted. "You still have the nerve to mention such a big scandal? Do you want the Palace of Darkness to take this bastard back? Let the Heavenly Elixir sect laugh at us?" Palace Mistress Su Yi, who was called WN didn't say anything. She lowered her head, feeling wronged. "Humph, if you had married the second young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect, we wouldn't be in such an awkward situation now. Would we be laughed at by the other sects?" At this point, the Supreme Elder seemed to have touched upon a sad past. He coldly snorted and said to WN, "In the future, you'd better calm down and concentrate on cultivation. Break through the Earth rank and reach the Heaven rank within 10 years. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing that adulterer and little bastard." Then, the Grand Supreme Elder floated away, leaving Palace Master WN with a face full of grievance. "Miss, I really can't do anything. I'm sorry." Elder Li sighed. The Grand Supreme Elder is doing this for the Palace of Darkness. Although she is an extremely snobbish person, she has never married. She has dedicated her entire life to the Palace of Darkness. She is Madame Dowager's subordinate and they are like sisters. I am one generation lower than her. I know, but I really can't let it go. Palace Master Wnr couldn't help but shed a line of tears. Miss, there is something that I don't know if I should say. Elder Lee hesitated and said, Uncle Lee, just say it. What can't you say? Palace Master Wnr looked at Elder Lee in confusion. Miss, the Grand Supreme Elder is actually disappointed that you didn't live up to his expectations. If you really break through to heaven rank within 10 years, our Palace of Darkness will have 2 heaven rank masters. At the heaven rank conference, our Palace of Darkness will also have a place. At that time, if you recognize the little miss, who will laugh at our Palace of Darkness? Who will dare to laugh at our Palace of Darkness? I'm afraid the Grand Supreme Elder won't be able to say anything else, right? Elder Lee hesitated. But, breaking through to heaven rank is easy to say, but how difficult is it to actually do it? Palace Master Wnr nodded and sighed. Miss is talented and smart, and has the blood of the Dark Phoenix. It's only a matter of time before she breaks through to heaven rank. Elder Lee said. Uncle Lee, help me keep an eye on her. Palace Master Wnr said. Don't worry, Miss taking care of the little miss is also my responsibility. Elder Lee nodded. After sending Tang Yun off, Lin Yi drove back to the villa. On the way, he wanted to give Peng Zhan a call. He had something important to discuss with him, but before he could make the call, Peng Zhan's call came in. Hello, Uncle Chu. Lin Yi picked up. Chem. Yi, where are you? Yarrow said you went on a date with Tang Yun? Peng Zhan asked. I'm on my way back to the villa, what's up? Lin Yi didn't catch the hidden meaning in Peng Zhan's words. He was in a rush to tell Peng Zhan about the exposure of his strength, so he didn't consider the meaning in his words. It's nothing, we'll talk about it when you come back. Peng Zhan didn't say much after hearing that Lin Yi was coming back. All right, I want to talk to you too. Lin Yi paused and nodded. Although Lin Yi didn't know why Peng Zhan was looking for him, it had to have something to do with the disappearance of his strength. Lin Yi parked the car in the villa's yard and walked in. He saw the Miss and Shu watching TV on the sofa in the living room, but the show they were watching was the housewife training program that they didn't want to watch the most. But now, the two of them were watching it with great interest. Lin Yi couldn't understand the interests of these two girls. They were jumping around a little too much. The sound of Lin Yi opening the door attracted Peng Zhan's attention. Peng Zhan walked out of Lin Yi's room and nodded at Lin Yi. Yi, you're back? Chapter 9:17. Peng Zhan's terms Mengyao blushed, thinking that Lin Yi already knew what her father wanted to talk to him about. That was why she suggested going into the room. Okay. Peng Zhan nodded and entered the room with Lin Yi. Peng Zhan closed the door and gestured for Lin Yi to sit. Yi, sit anywhere you like. We're family, no need to be so formal. Okay, Uncle Chu. Lin Yi was used to Peng Zhan's friendliness. He sat in front of him. Yi, I heard from Yarrow that you've lost all your strength, so you're resigning. Is that true? Peng Zhan asked. Yes, Uncle Chu. To tell you the truth, I'm not much stronger than a normal person right now. I'm afraid I can't even protect myself. I don't have the strength to protect Yarrow and Shu. Lin Yi nodded calmly. So, I have no choice but to resign. I see. Peng Zhan nodded. It's fine if you lose your strength. Being a normal person isn't that bad. Oh, do you like business? Business? Lin Yi paused, not understanding what Peng Zhan meant. It's all right. All roads lead to Rome. You can be successful in business as well, Peng Zhan said. Yi, you're the second biggest shareholder of Peng Zhan Industries, right? Learning how to do business isn't a bad thing. I'll retire one day, but Peng Zhan Industries still needs to be passed down. Lin Yi paused after hearing the words. Peng Zhan didn't say it out loud, but the meaning behind his words was clear. Lin Yi wasn't an idiot. Peng Zhan was hinting that he could be nurtured as an heir. Uncle Chu, Peng Zhan Industries needs to be handed over to Yarrow. How could we hand it over to an outsider? Lin Yi shrugged with a smile, rejecting Peng Zhan's suggestion. Haha, Peng Zhan smiled and changed the topic. Yi, what do you think of Yarrow? Yarrow? It's pretty good. Lin Yi looked at Peng Zhan suspiciously, not knowing how to answer the sudden question. Oh, then do you like Yao Yao? Peng Zhan didn't get anything from hinting at Lin Yi about the group, so he decided to get straight to the point. Quack. Lin Yi froze, his eyes wide. Peng Zhan's question was a little too much for Lin Yi to answer. Of course he did, but before Lin Yi understood Peng Zhan's intentions, there were some things he couldn't say. Yarrow Yarrow is cute and pretty. She's the campus belle, and also a goddess in the eyes of many guys. Lin Yi changed his way of saying it, but he also hinted that he thought the same way. Outside Lin Yi's room, two little spies had already appeared and were monitoring the conversation in the room. When Peng Zhan asked the question, Meng Yao's heart tightened, and her breathing quickened. Oh, Yarrow Yao, what do you think Shield Bro would say? Yushu asked. Don't say anything. Meng Yarrow was afraid that Yushu would interrupt and miss Lin Yi's words. But when Lin Yi's answer stopped in Meng Yao's ears, she was a little happy, but also a little disappointed. Why did Lin Yi always change the topic? Why did he have to talk about other people whether he liked her or not? Haha, what about you? Peng Zhan looked at Lin Yi. I think any guy who's been with her for a long time would like her. Lin Yi shrugged. Peng Zhan didn't give up, so he could only answer like this. Alright, I'll put it another way. Peng Zhan saw through Lin Yi's thoughts. The future of Peng Zhan Industries, I want to hand it over to you, and let you bring it to greater height. Lin Yi, naturally, understood what Peng Zhan was getting at. No wonder Peng Zhan had brought up the group before, and now that he was bringing it up, Lin Yi knew everything. Uncle Chu, I have a girlfriend. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I think you know that I just went on a date with her, and I gave her an engagement ring. Oh? Peng Zhan froze after hearing Lin Yi's words. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be serious about Tang Yin. This was going to be difficult. His daughter could accept Shu, but could she accept Tang Yin? Uncle Chu, actually, I know that you care about me, and I'm very grateful for that. Lin Yi said, but marriage is a big thing, and we still need the consent of the person in question. I think that Yarrow Yarrow doesn't like me. Maybe under your suggestion, Yarrow Yarrow will agree to this out of gratitude towards me. This is unfair to her. Also, it's unfair to Tang Yin. Lin Yi really didn't think that Miss would like him. Of course, she was grateful. As for the jealousy with Tang Yin, it was also because of Shu's instigation. From Lin Yi's point of view, Miss's feelings towards him were more of the gratitude towards him for saving her life, and the sense of security that living with him gave her. Meng Yao's tears gushed out in an instant. Who said that I don't like him? I like him, I like him. Meng Yao wanted to rush into the house and explain it to Lin Yi, but she couldn't muster up the courage to do so. Lin Yi's attitude had already said everything. He wouldn't give up on Tang Yin, so what else could she say? Wasn't that asking for humiliation? Was she going to beg Lin Yi to let her be his mistress, and Yushu be his mistress? Miss couldn't do such a thing, nor could she say it out loud. From what I see, Yarrow Yarrow and Tang Yin's relationship isn't bad. Peng Zhan didn't think that Lin Yi would reject it so firmly. Although, Peng Zhan didn't think that his daughter would fight with other girls for Lin Yi. From his point of view, a good man should be loyal, just like himself. But, for the sake of his father's promise, and for the sake of his daughter's happiness, Peng Zhan's words revealed a hint of compromise. In other words, if Tang Yin and Meng Yao didn't mind, he wouldn't mind either. Lin Yi was stunned. He really couldn't understand how he could make Peng Zhan look at him in such a different light. From the beginning, Peng Zhan had been very polite to him. It didn't seem like the relationship between an employer and an employee at all. Yes, Lin Yi was really curious. He didn't know what kind of secret was hidden in this. The old man didn't say anything, and Peng Zhan was also vague about it, but Lin Yi felt that there must be something he didn't know. Chapter 918. Never liked him. Lin Yi, you're a smart man. I think you understand what I mean. Chu. Peng Zhan looked at Lin Yi and said, Uncle Chu, why are you so nice to me? Lin Yi couldn't help but ask. There's a reason behind it, but it involves some secrets, and I can't reveal it right now. Peng Zhan smiled bitterly. His father didn't tell him the exact reason either. Peng Zhan could only remember his father telling him firmly that if he wanted to see his wife again, if he wanted House Chu to prosper, Then he'd have to let Yarrow Yarrow keep Lin Yi. Pengzhan didn't know why his father was so certain, either. He'd asked him about it, but his father had told him that it wasn't time yet. Lin Yi sighed and smiled. I appreciate Uncle Chu's trust and love, but even if I agree, I don't think Yarrow Yarrow will agree. This time, I'm going back to my old home to find a way to recover my strength. Tang Yun will go with me. Yarrow Yarrow is the daughter of a rich family. How could she stand that kind of environment? A straw hut, a public toilet, warm in summer and cold in winter, it's really hard. Plus, I don't want to hurt Tang Yun. Pengzhan didn't think that Lin Yi would still insist on leaving. He wanted Lin Yi to stay because he wanted Lin Yi to stay in Songshan, but the thought of his daughter suffering with Lin Yi put him in a difficult position. Would his daughter agree? Meng Yarrow really wanted to rush into the room and tell Lin Yi, I can handle it, after hearing Lin Yi's words. Why can't I? If Tang Yun can do it, so can I. However, Lin Yi's last sentence stopped the eldest miss in her tracks and stopped the impulse in her heart. Lin Yi didn't want to hurt Tang Yun. Yes, even if she could accept Tang Yun and become Lin Yi's concubine, would Tang Yun be willing? Why would others accept him? Shoo, let's go. It was Meng Yao's first time confessing to Lin Yi through her father, only to be rejected mercilessly. The Miss Fragile Heart was very, very hurt. Yarrow Yarrow, Shield Bro seems to like you. Don't you want to try harder? Yushu could tell that Meng Yarrow was sad. HMPH. Who does he think he is? You want to have 3 or 4 wives? Dream on. Meng Yarrow stomped her foot. Let him go, he'll go. Who cares about him? He's just a bodyguard. I'll ask Daddy to find me someone more powerful. Someone 10 times more powerful and handsome than him. I don't like him at all. What a narcissistic fellow. Oh, Yarrow Yarrow sis, although it feels good to lie to yourself, if you want to cry, just cry. Yushu is your strong shield, I'll always be with you. Yushu said. Cry. Why am I crying? Lin Yi's blind, why would I cry? Meng Yarrow stumbled up the stairs and fell onto the bed. She couldn't hold it in any longer, and tears started flowing down her cheeks uncontrollably. Yushu stood at the door, deep in thought. Actually, Yarrow Yarrow's problem wasn't a problem at all. She just wanted to be a small wife, and everything would be fine. Yarrow Yarrow sis, maybe I should go talk to Tang Yin? Yushu asked carefully. Talk about what? Do you think I need someone else's charity? Meng Yarrow couldn't hold it in anymore. She hugged Yushu and started sobbing. Don't cry, Yarrow Yarrow, Yushu supports you. Yushu said quickly. Shoo. Was I wrong from the start? Meng Yarrow asked blankly after crying for a while. She was tired from crying. I don't know, but I don't think you should give up, Yarrow Yarrow. Yushu said. So what if you don't give up? Meng Yarrow shook her head. Alright, Shoo, I'm fine, I'm happy again. Let's not talk about him anymore. Yarrow Yarrow, you're lying, Yushu said. I don't like him at all. I've never liked him, not now, not in the past, and never in the future. Meng Yarrow shook her head firmly. Oh, forget it, I still want to help you. Yushu shook her head disappointedly. You have a way. Meng Yarrow paused and looked at Yushu. You don't like him, what's the point of me saying it? Yushu shook her head again. Then just say it. Let's just pretend we're just chatting, okay? It's pointless now anyway. Meng Yarrow said. Who knows, maybe you'll like him in the future. Just treat it as a practice. Oh, actually, I think the most important thing now is to make Shield Bro stay. Yushu said. Otherwise, if Shield Bro and Tang Yin hide in the mountains, we won't be able to find any opponents, But, doesn't he have to go back? Meng Yarrow asked. But, as long as Shield Bro recovers, he can come back. Yushu said. So we can talk to him, as long as he recovers, he'll come back to the villa. That way, you'll have a chance. Yes, you'll have a chance. Meng Yarrow was a stubborn person. But how do you know that he'll definitely recover? I'm a prophet, Shoo. Although I'm a crow sometimes, my words are very accurate. Yushu said with self-awareness. Oh, up to you. I don't really care. Meng Yarrow didn't know why, but she was secretly happy in her heart. She didn't show any expression on her face. Don't worry, Yao Yao. Leave it to me, Yu Shu said confidently. In the study downstairs, Lin Yi didn't know that the miss overheard his conversation with Peng Zhan. But even if he knew, Lin Yi would still say it. Although it was a little hurtful, Lin Yi had to do it. He had a good impression of Meng Yaro and Yu Shu. It was a fact. But he couldn't hurt everyone because of the truth. Wouldn't he cause trouble for Meng Yaro if he stayed in the villa? If his enemies came looking for him, they would definitely be dragged into this. This wasn't something Lin Yi wanted to see. So, no matter what, Lin Yi had to leave. Yi, don't you want to reconsider? Peng Zhan looked at Lin Yi with a bitter smile. He didn't expect that Lin Yi wouldn't budge even after he laid his cards on the table. Uncle Chu, actually, I want to stay here too. Lin Yi shrugged. But I have a lot of enemies. They'll come looking for me soon. If that happens, I won't be able to protect myself, and I won't be able to protect Yao Yaro and Shu. Wouldn't that be harming everyone? Chapter 919. The forces that wanted to make trouble Uncle Chu, even if you hired a bodyguard, I can't just stay in the villa for the rest of my life. I can't just stay there and be protected by others, can I? Lin Yi said helplessly, I have to regain my strength. That's why I'm resigning and looking for a way to recover my strength. You're right. A man's ambition is to travel far and wide. Peng Zhan nodded. Can't you recover your strength in the villa? It's very difficult. I don't have a way now. I can only go out and look for a way, Lin Yi said. If that's the case, then I won't stop you. Peng Zhan saw that Lin Yi had made up his mind and didn't try to persuade him anymore. But, I hope that after you leave, you can treat this place as your home, a place where you can hide from the wind. I will, Lin Yi nodded, Yao Yao, Shu, and I will always be good friends. Haha, good. Peng Zhan didn't say anything else. After all, it wasn't his place to interfere with young people's business. Since things had come to this, Peng Zhan could only wish Lin Yi well. I hope you can recover your strength as soon as possible. Thank you, Uncle Chu. Lin Yi smiled bitterly in his heart. Recover his strength. He didn't have much confidence in himself. Leaving the villa, in his old man's words, was just going to seek refuge. How could it be that easy to recover strength? There were so many spiritual practitioners in the world who lost their martial arts because their meridians were damaged. They had to accept the fact that they were useless and practice physical arts again. However, because of their injuries, even if they started training again, it would be difficult for them to achieve much. Most of them stopped at the peak of the late phase of the golden class, and they never broke through again in their lives. It was easy to practice physical arts at the beginning, but once you reached a certain bottleneck, it was hard to break through. Body refinement, at the limit, was very slow to improve. For people like Ma Zhu, unless they were talented and had a good physique, they wouldn't be able to reach such a level. Thinking about it, Ma Zhu must be even more depressed than him. He could still practice physical arts with his meridians broken, but what about Ma Zhu? Perhaps he would have to go back home to farm. However, Uncle Chu, I feel that my enemies have noticed that I have lost my strength, so I think you should find a bodyguard to replace me as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will be in trouble. Lin Yi said with a serious look and continued, after all, many of my enemies are also your enemies. Many of them became enemies with me because they wanted to deal with Yao Yao. If they can't find me, I'm afraid they will turn back to deal with you and Yao Yao. I know that. Peng Zhan nodded. I've already contacted Forberts Jr. He's also a bodyguard for someone. His employer left the country a while ago, but he's currently working as a cash escort for a wealthy businessman. It's a one-time mission, and he'll be able to come back after the mission is over. But he gave me the number of a bodyguard company that specializes in providing temporary bodyguards for rich people. I hired one there to temporarily replace him. Oh, what's his strength? Lin Yi asked. It's said that he's a mystic, Peng Zhan said. In terms of strength, there's no problem. As long as it's not a deep grudge, he should be able to intimidate those enemies. Lin Yi thought about it and asked, when will he come? In these 2 days, Peng Zhan said, if not today, then tomorrow. All right, I'm relieved. Lin Yi nodded. Peng Zhan left the villa after the conversation with Lin Yi. There were a lot of things to do in the company these 2 days, and he had no time to spare. However, Lin Yi didn't see the Miss and Shu come downstairs the whole night. Lin Yi guessed that they were catching up on sleep because they didn't sleep well while taking care of him for the past few days. The next morning, Meng Yaro and Yu Shu came downstairs hand in hand. The Miss was no different than usual, and Lin Yi didn't suspect anything. Lin Yi, when are you leaving? Meng Yaro asked. In these 2 days, I'll leave when Uncle Chu's bodyguards arrive. Lin Yi said, a little sad. Ian, are you leaving from the villa? Meng Yaro asked. I think so. Lin Yi nodded. Then tell me and Shu, we'll send you off. Meng Yaro said. All right. Lin Yi looked at Meng Yaro curiously. The Miss seemed a little too calm, wasn't she? Was she different from yesterday? In the villa district, Xiao family had moved into the newly purchased villa. Xiao Ji was glaring at his wife. Go Huli, look at what you've done. What kind of people did you offend? Thank God I didn't listen to you and sent Uncle Pai to cause trouble for Peng Zhan. Otherwise, it would be our Xiao family in trouble. What's wrong? Wasn't it my second brother's idea? Why did it have to do with me? Go Huli felt wronged, didn't we investigate it? In Peng Zhan's house, there's a golden class late phase peak physical practitioner called Forbert. Our Uncle Pai is a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner, PH, but other than Forbert, Peng Zhan has another practitioner with him, a mystic early phase peak spiritual practitioner. Xiao Ji said, thank God I paid a visit to Master Bing, otherwise we'd still be in the dark. A spiritual master at the peak of the early phase of the mystic class is on par with a physical master at the middle phase of the mystic class. If they really fight, they have a physical master at the peak of the late phase of the golden class to help them. House Xiao will be the one at a disadvantage. Ah! No way, right? This Peng Zhan, a small businessman, was this strong? How is that possible? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Go Huli was shocked, her mouth wide open in disbelief. Me? How could Master Bing be mistaken? Xiao Ji hemped coldly, that mystic early phase peak spiritual practitioner is called Lin Yi, and he broke Master Bing's legs. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Now Master Bing hates him to the core. How could he have made a mistake about his strength? No way. He even dares to beat up Master Bing. Is he tired of living? Go Huli was shocked. Then what should I do? Wouldn't I be losing for nothing? Then what do you want? He has 2 practitioners with him, and we're just wasting our time fighting him head on. Xiao Ji was actually quite troubled as well. He'd wanted to squeeze a large sum of money from Peng Zhan, so that Xiao family's business in Songshan would be a lot better off. He didn't expect to find out that Peng Zhan wasn't as simple as he seemed. There were hidden dragons and crouching tigers around him. Chapter 920. Xiao family makes a move. Oh? What is it? Xiao Ji paused. Li Fu was injured, we don't know if he's dead or alive, and Peng Zhan's daughter was kidnapped as well. She was rescued by that Lin Yi bodyguard, but that Lin Yi seems to be injured quite badly as well. Xiao Ben grinned, the police have already leaked the news, but it's not a secret to us. Oh! Someone dares touch Peng Zhan? Xiao Ji paused at Xiao Ben's words. Who did it? Do they have a master? House Jin of Donghai, they blackmailed Peng Zhan for 250 million, and they have a mystic mid-phase peak physical practitioner helping them. Xiao Ben said, I heard that he's injured as well, and is being treated at Master Bing's place. I haven't asked Master Bing about it yet, so I don't know the specifics. But one thing is for sure, this is a great opportunity for our Xiao family. 250 million, that much? Xiao Ji's eyes flashed with desire as he licked his lips. We were thinking of asking for 100 million at first, but we didn't expect them to be even more ruthless than us. Second brother, hurry up and ask around. If Peng Zhan's bodyguards are dead, then it's a great opportunity for our Xiao family to take advantage of them. Naturally, I know that. Xiao Ben nodded. I've already sent Xiao Wangba and Xiao Wangdao out to ask around, and I'm sure we'll get some news soon. We can't hide this even if we want to. Wahahaha, the heavens are really helping our Xiao family. Xiao Ji laughed as he looked at his wife. Huli, you've done a great job this time, otherwise Xiao family wouldn't have any reason to ask for money from Peng Zhan. Then why did you yell at me just now? Hu Li was overjoyed to hear that House Chu's bodyguards were gone. Not only could she get revenge for herself, but Xiao family would also get a huge sum of money. Haha, I didn't understand the situation just now, did I? Xiao Ji hugged his wife happily. Don't worry, House Chu will definitely be taken advantage of by us this time. Brother, how much should we ask for this time? The 100 million we agreed on last time is really not much. Xiao Ben also felt that the Xiao family would most likely get some benefits this time. The Zhen family really dares to demand an exorbitant price. 250 million. Pengzhan actually gave it to me. We need at least 200 million, Xiaoji said. This Pengzhan sure is rich. If we don't ask for more, we'll be letting down the good opportunity that the Zhen family has created for us. As the two of them were talking, Xiao Wangba and Xiao Wangdao came back. The moment they entered, Xiao Wangba shouted excitedly, Dad, second uncle, good news, super good news. Oh, what good news? Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben looked at each other. They could guess what the other was thinking. Li Fu's life or death is still unknown, and that Lin Yi has lost all his strength. Xiao Wangba said, the news has already spread outside. How reliable is the information? Xiao Ji was delighted and quickly asked. I'm not too sure about that, but Dad, don't you know Master Bing? You can ask him for confirmation. Master Bing is a local tyrant, so he should be able to get the most accurate information, Xiao Wangba said. All right, I'll call Master Bing right now. Xiao Ji nodded and took out his phone to call Master Bing. Chibing waited for the Xiao family's response after Cihua released the news. He didn't think that the Xiao family would be so impatient to call him after just one day. Chibing laughed and picked up the phone. Hello. I'm Zhao Chibing. Master Bing, I'm Xiao Ji from the Xiao family. Xiao Ji was very respectful towards Chibing. He was from a noble house, so naturally, he knew that Chibing came from a hidden noble house, a house even bigger than the noble houses. Chibing was a bastard, but his family was very powerful. Oh, it's Uncle Xiao. What's the matter, Uncle Xiao? Chibing pretended not to know. It's like this, I heard that something happened to Pengzhan. Xiao Ji had asked Master Bing about Pengzhan before, and his words revealed his hatred towards Pengzhan. He wanted to see Master Bing's attitude. If Master Bing wanted to protect Pengzhan, then Xiao Ji wouldn't do anything to Pengzhan. However, he didn't expect Master Bing and Pengzhan to be enemies, and so Xiao Ji expressed his intentions without holding back. Oh, Uncle Xiao, you're asking about this? Chibing thought. As expected, he couldn't wait any longer. But that was good, the more people there were to deal with Lin Yi and House Chu, the happier he would be. He said, that's right, I've already sent people to investigate. Li Fu's injuries are very serious, and he hasn't recovered yet. That Lin Yi has lost all his strength, and has become a normal person. Uncle Xiao, you can deal with them without worry. Haha, is that so? So it's you, Master Bing? Xiao Ji was overjoyed. He was worried that the news wasn't accurate, but now that it was Chibing himself, he relaxed. You know the grudge between me and Lin Yi. Now that something like this has happened to him, I want to deal with him as well. Chibing paused on purpose. Zhen Dazhou extorted so much money from Pengzhan, 250 million. I'm very envious. So I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to try and get some benefit. Is that so? Haha, alright, thank you, Master Bing. Xiao Ji quickly hung up and said to Xiao Ben impatiently, Brother, it's Zhao Chibing who sent people to investigate Lin Yi. He found out that Lin Yi has lost all his strength, and Forbert's status is unknown as well. Zhao Chibing is very envious of Zhen Dazhou for extorting 250 million from Pengzhan, and he wants to get some benefits as well, so we need to act as soon as possible. Oh, is that so? If that's the case, then we need to act as soon as possible. Otherwise, if Pengzhan gets sucked dry, who do we ask for money from? Xiao Ben nodded. Zhao Chibing will definitely ask for a lot of money. We need to be one step ahead. Yeah, I've already told Zhao Chibing. When the time comes, we'll ask for money first. He won't blame us. Xiao Ji said, why don't we go now? All right, we'll bring Uncle Pai to Pengzhan now. Xiao Ben gritted his teeth. If we don't make a decision soon, the money will be gone. Chapter 921. Arrogantly denouncing the crime you're Pengzhan, aren't you? The man in the Taoist robe pushed the door open and walked in. The bastards downstairs dared stop me from coming up, so I've taken care of them myself. Ah! Pengzhan paused, shocked by the sudden entrance. May I ask if you're Jizuan Wei, Mr. Wei? That's me. The man in the Taoist robe nodded and said, the security guards here are too inferior. How dare they come out and embarrass themselves with such skills? The phone on Pengzhan's desk rang just as Wei Jizuan finished his sentence. Pengzhan smiled bitterly as he picked up the phone. It was indeed the security captain, saying that a domineering man had barged into the company and was looking for Pengzhan. He'd even injured 2 of the security guards. Pengzhan didn't know what to say, but he couldn't blame Wei Jizuan at a time like this. After all, Forbert's juniors were relying on him. He only told the captain that everything was fine, and told him to send the 2 injured guards to the hospital for treatment. Mr. Wei, you're quite skilled, but you don't have to be calculative with normal people, do you? Pengzhan put down the phone and stood up. My daughter and I'll be relying on you from now on. Of course, Wei Jizuan said proudly. I'm a mystic supreme. I have no problem keeping you safe, but as for the commission, the bodyguard company told me already, 200,000 a month, no problem at all. Pengzhan nodded, thinking of Lin Yi. 30,000 was quite cheap, but it was his old man who had set the price, and he didn't have the right to interfere. No, that's the company's price. Wei Jizuan shook his head. That money is for the company, so you have to pay me 300,000 a month. Pengzhan paused, not expecting Wei Jizuan to be this greedy. What? You can't afford it? Then I'll have to leave. Wei Jizuan said as he stood up to leave. Please don't be angry, Mr. Wei. Fine, 300,000 it is. Pengzhan had no choice but to agree. 500,000 for a big shot, but Pengzhan had no choice but to keep him. That's what I said. 500,000 to hire a mystic class supreme being, that's a pretty good deal for you. Wei Jizuan nodded and laughed. Pengzhan wasn't too clear on the levels of strength, and he didn't know how strong a mystic prime was, but it sounded like it was pretty strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to raise the price like this. Alright, then according to the contract, the probation period is 1 month, and the salary will start next month? Pengzhan asked. Those are the company's rules. Wei Jizuan shook his head. This Wei's rule is that the probation period is 1 day, and the salary will be paid starting tomorrow. Alright, no problem. Pengzhan sighed. Wasn't this bodyguard a little too cocky? Who was the employer? But Wei Jizuan was right, a mystic class supreme being a bodyguard for a commoner. How could that be possible if there wasn't a huge benefit to it? But as the two were talking, the office door was pushed open once more, and 3 arrogant people walked in. This time, the security captain downstairs didn't dare to stop them. Who knew what kind of people were coming today? Previously, there was an old man in a Taoist robe who hurt people without saying a word. Now, these 3 people didn't say anything and just rushed inside angrily. Where's Pengzhan? You've got some guts, haven't you? How dare you mess with someone from the Xiao family? Xiao Ji barked as soon as he walked in. Pengzhan had met Xiao Ji before, and knew that he was from the Xiao family. Pengzhan Industries had done business with the Xiao family before. As for what happened to the Xiao family recently, Pengzhan knew that the Xiao family came to Songshan to invest, but he didn't know why the Xiao family would come to his office all of a sudden. It seemed like they were here to interrogate him. Mr. Xiao, may I know how I've offended the Xiao family? Pengzhan looked at the murderous Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben, confused. Were these 2 mistaken? Pengzhan Industries' recent business had nothing to do with the Xiao family, and there was no way they'd offended the Xiao family. Your daughter humiliated my wife, go Huli. Xiao Ji laughed coldly. My Xiao family just came to Songshan, and you're already trying to show us who's boss. Is it because the old man who bullied our Xiao family just passed away, and our Xiao family is unable to recover from this setback? A tiger that falls to the plains will be bullied by dogs. Mr. Xiao Ji, what do you mean by that? When did my daughter humiliate your wife? Pengzhan frowned. Besides, there's no way you're trying to show us who's boss. Pengzhan Industries has done business with the Xiao family before, and I can't wait to welcome your investment here. Why would I bully you? You make it sound so nice. Our Xiao family is still bigger than a starving camel, and you're one of the biggest corporations in the area. Aren't you afraid that our Xiao family will come and take away your business? Xiao Ji hemphed, so you instigated your daughter to humiliate my wife in every possible way, to attack our Xiao family's position in Songshan. Mr. Xiao Ji, why am I getting more and more confused? Business is business, and since it's business, naturally there are buyers and sellers. Business is only business when there are more people. Why would I be afraid of you guys taking away my business? Peng Zhan had his suspicions, but Xiao Ji's words made sense. Peng Zhan felt that something wasn't quite right. It seemed like the Xiaos were here to cause trouble on purpose. All right, Mr. Chu, we're all smart people, let's cut the bullshit. Xiao Ben, who had been standing at the side, spoke up. Why don't you just ask your daughter? She and this Shu person bullied my sister-in-law, Go Huli. How could we say anything? Peng Zhan paused. If Xiao Ben said that his daughter was with Shu, then it couldn't be nonsense. Could it be that Yarrow offended that Go Huli again? All right, since Mr. Xiao is so insistent, I'll ask my daughter first. Peng Zhan had no choice but to nod. Hurry up, there's a limit to our patience. Xiao Ji's words carried a commanding tone. Chapter 922. Super greedy. The matter had just ended, and now the Xiao family was knocking on his door again. Peng Zhan turned and went into his office break room, and the Xiao family didn't follow him in. They just stood there, smiling coldly. In the break room, Peng Zhan dialed his daughter's number, but hung it up after some thought. She was probably at school at this time, so he called Lin Yi directly. Uncle Chu. Lin Yi was at Xuemin's house with Kang Xiaobo and Fatty Lai. He had some things to take care of before he left. Yi, I want to ask you about something. It's about Yarrow and a person called Go Huli. Peng Zhan said. Oh, Go Huli. Lin Yi paused, remembering this person. He told Peng Zhan about what happened, but, it's been a while, why are you asking about this all of a sudden, Uncle Chu? Go Huli, the wife of the Xiao family's young master, Xiao Ji. Now, they're here. Peng Zhan sighed. According to Lin Yi, although Yarrow and Shu were at fault in the beginning, it was just a small dispute. They only wet Go Huli's clothes, and after Yarrow and Shu apologized and asked for compensation, Go Huli was being unreasonable. But now, the Xiao family was using this as an excuse to say that Yarrow was the one who insulted Go Huli. It seemed that the Xiao family didn't come with good intentions. Oh. Lin Yi paused. They're from Yanjing's Xiao family? They're here. Lin Yi didn't think that the enemy would come this soon. Meng Yarrow and Go Huli's dispute had been going on for a while, but the Xiao family hadn't made a move yet. They just had to come when Forbert was injured, and he didn't have any strength left. There had to be a conspiracy behind this. However, Lin Yi was powerless. He had only met the two juniors of the Xiao family once, and he didn't have any advantage in terms of strength. It's nothing. I can still handle it. I just want to verify it with you. Don't worry. Peng Zhan sighed, thanking his lucky stars that Wei Zhizuan had arrived. Otherwise, the Xiao family would have eaten him up for sure. Hanging up the call with Lin Yi, Peng Zhan turned around and walked out of the lounge. He looked at the Xiao family brothers, then at the old man beside them, and his eyes narrowed. Peng Zhan hadn't noticed this person before, but upon closer inspection, he realized that there was a thick killing intent emanating from him. Peng Zhan might be a normal person, but facing a master like this still gave him the chills. Could he be the legendary guardian of the Xiao family, Uncle Pai? If it was really him, then the Xiao family must have some ulterior motive for coming here this time. Mr. Xiao, I've already made the phone call, but this matter doesn't seem to be the fault of my daughter alone, does it? Peng Zhan said, neither servile nor overbearing. If we were to say something wrong, it would be that your wife's attitude was a little impatient. Fuck you. What did you say? Xiao Ji couldn't help but curse at Peng Zhan's words. We, the Xiao family, don't need you to teach us what to do. Before the old man of the Xiao family had passed away, Xiao Ji had been a good-for-nothing hedonistic young master. He had spent his days fighting and mingling with other hedonistic young masters, causing trouble everywhere he went. But at that time, The Xiao family was at its peak, so it didn't matter. These few years, Xiao Ji had toned down a little, but his bad temper and good-for-nothing personality hadn't changed. Peng Zhan's nonsensical words pissed him off. Peng Zhan didn't expect Xiao Ji to be this uncultured, cursing at the slightest disagreement. How was this a meeting between people of status? Mr. Xiao, what's the meaning of this? Peng Zhan took a deep breath. You're here to cause trouble. So what if I am? I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm here to get back at my wife. Xiao Ji hemped coldly as he kicked the sofa in the office. You dare bully the Xiao family? I think you're tired of living, aren't you? My Xiao family is still a noble house, no matter how weak we are. Who do you think you are, Peng Zhan? Wei Zhizuan, on the other hand, was sitting on the side, enjoying the show. Since Peng Zhan didn't ask him to make a move, he was more than happy to watch the show. Only when the situation became more and more dangerous would he be able to make a move and show his power. Xiao Ji, are you here to cause trouble? What do you want? Just say it. Peng Zhan didn't believe that Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben were just cursing and smashing things. There had to be some other purpose. All right, big bro, calm down first. Let me talk to Mr. Chu. Xiao Ben was very satisfied with his brother's actions. He'd put Peng Zhan in his place first, and the following conditions would be easier to negotiate. So Xiao Ben pretended to persuade Xiao Ji first before continuing. I believe that Mr. Chu is a smart man, and will definitely compensate our Xiao family. Am I right, Mr. Chu? Xiao Ji hemped coldly as he sat on the sofa, not saying another word. Just say what you want, won't you? Peng Zhan, of course, knew what the Xiao family brothers were here for. They were just using this as an excuse to ask for some benefit. Good. Xiao Ben looked at Peng Zhan and nodded. Our Xiao family is a noble house, and even if we're a little down and out right now, the Xiao family isn't someone you can just humiliate. If Mr. Chu doesn't pay a price, won't everyone start humiliating our Xiao family? What price do you want? Peng Zhan asked, suppressing the anger in his heart. It had been so long, and the Xiaos had only just come to their doorstep, and the timing was quite coincidental, coming only when Li Fu and Lin Yi were injured. Peng Zhan couldn't help but suspect that they'd come after receiving the news. We won't ask for much. Xiao family is here to do business, after all. How about this, Mr. Chu? Why don't you just give us the Peng Zhan Mall and Peng Zhan Hotel to Xiao family, and give us 200 million as a starting capital, and we'll call it quit? Xiao Ben said straightforwardly. Plus, he didn't want to pay up at all. Seeing Peng Zhan's angry face, his greed grew. Chapter 923. This is your helper. Greedy. You bullied our Xiao family. It's good enough that Peng Zhan Industries didn't go bankrupt. Xiao Ji interrupted. Back in the days when our Xiao family was at its peak, if you messed with our Xiao family, we would have taken down your entire Peng Zhan Industries. One word from Xiao family, and no one would dare to do business with you. Haha, Xiao Ji, you said it yourself. Xiao family isn't what it used to be. There's no need for us to talk about this anymore. Please leave, Peng Zhan said faintly. Peng Zhan said faintly. Since House Xiao had such a big appetite, he'd have to continue being enemies with them. Just wait and see. Peng Zhan thought that although Xiao family was a big family, they were new to Songshan, and Peng Zhan Industries might not lose to them. Peng Zhan, don't fucking refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Xiao Ji slapped his thigh. What are you pretending for? Our Xiao family may not be what it used to be, but how much better can you be? Do you still think you're the Peng Zhan from a while ago? Do you know why we came to you now? Do you know why? Peng Zhan frowned, his heart skipping a beat. It seemed like he was right. But this Xiao Ji was too arrogant. Your driver, Li Fu, was he crippled? He still hasn't woken up yet, right? That Lin Yi, he's injured too, isn't he? He lost all his strength, right? Xiao Ji continued, we didn't come to you before because we were worried, but now that we're here, we're sure that we'll take you down. If you know what's good for you, you'd better pay up or we'll bring you more excitement. So you've planned this all along. Peng Zhan's face was green with anger. The Xiao family brothers were here to take advantage of him. So what? Peng Zhan, Earth isn't safe right now. You and your daughter need to be careful. Don't die on the street. Otherwise, You won't be alive to spend your money, Xiao Ji said coldly. There are too many unsolved cases these days. Mr. Wei, see the guest out. Chu Pengzhan glanced at Wei Zhizuan, who was sitting on the sofa. Fortunately, he was prepared. Otherwise, the Xiao family would definitely eat him alive. Wei Zhizun stood up in a very arrogant manner. If the background music was added, this scene would often be the scene of an expert appearing in a TV drama. You three ignorant children, hurry up and scram for this Wei. If you dare cause trouble here again, I'll take your lives. Wei Zhizuan waved his hand arrogantly and looked at the Xiao family brothers and Uncle Pai with disdain. Wei Zhizuan's sudden appearance stunned the Xiao family brothers. They hadn't noticed Wei Zhizuan before, nor did they think he was an expert. What the hell are you? Xiao Ji looked at Wei Zhizuan and asked with disdain. A mystic. If you don't get lost, I'll send you to the Western Paradise. Wei Zhizuan arrogantly looked at Xiao Ji and spoke with contempt. Ha! Pengzhan, I was wondering why you were so cocky. So you've got a new helper. Xiao Ji looked at Wei Zhizuan and started laughing. But it's funny, how come I've never heard of a mystic before? Uncle Pai, have you? No, I've never heard of a mystic before. Uncle Pai said faintly. Ignorant child, how dare you make fun of me? Arth, I'll kill you. Wei Zhizuan was enraged at being ignored like this. Uncle Pai, shut him up. Xiao Ben looked at Wei Zhizuan and said to Uncle Pai. Yes, young master. Uncle Pai moved abruptly, reaching out to slap Wei Zhizuan. Wei Zhizuan was in the midst of his rage when his body was hit, and his voice stopped abruptly. In an instant, his eyes bulged out and he let out a blood-curdling scream. With a whoosh, he was sent flying and crashed heavily into the wall. He spat out a mouthful of blood and twitched twice on the ground. It was obvious that he had suffered serious internal injuries, just a mystic early-phase physical practitioner, and just broke through to mystic not too long ago. What a mystic supreme, what a frog in a well. Uncle Pai shook his head in disdain. I thought there was a new level of mystic. How lame, is this your helper? Which garbage station did you pick him out from? Mystic mid-phase. Wei Zhizuan looked at Uncle Pai in disbelief. He didn't expect Uncle Pai to be a mystic mid-phase, 2 whole levels higher than him. Wei Zhizuan didn't think that the other party would have a master, and he'd wanted to show off in front of Pengzhan, making him feel that the 500,000 he'd spent was worth it. He didn't think that he'd be killed in one move. In actuality, the 200,000 he'd promised wasn't all for the company, it was only a portion of it, and the majority of it was still for Wei Zhizuan. But raising the price was a common trick of these masters, and Wei Zhizuan had even thought of helping Pengzhan take care of these guys and then asking for a reward or something. But he was gravely mistaken. The other party's strength was far beyond what he'd imagined. Even if he hadn't been careless, he wouldn't have been a match for a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner, and now he'd been hit by a palm because of his carelessness. Wei Zhizuan felt as if his organs had been displaced. It was evident that he'd been crippled. Even if he'd recovered, his kung fu wouldn't be able to recover to his current level. This life was over for him. Wei Zhizuan felt sorrowful. He regretted taking this job. It was all his fault for being greedy and careless. However, who could they blame? Not only would he not get a single cent, but he'd also have to leave with his tail between his legs. Pengzhan, this is a warning for you. Xiao Ji was overjoyed as he watched Forbit injure Pengzhan's new master with just one palm. He pointed at Pengzhan and said arrogantly, I've already given you the terms, I hope you don't do anything stupid that will kill you. I'll give you 1 day to think about it, otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. Your daughter will be the same, and your entire house Chu will die a horrible death. Alright, bro, don't scare him. Who's going to give us the money if he dies? Xiao Ben waved his hand kindly. Let's go, let's let Mr. Chu think about it. I'm sure he's not an idiot. The Xiao brothers laughed heartily as they left Pengzhan's office with Uncle Pai, completely ignoring Pengzhan's dark expression. Chapter 924. Master Bing's heart. Wei Zhizuan was Pengzhan's only hope, but now that he was heavily injured, what else could he do? Pengzhan really didn't know what to do. He felt a deep sense of powerlessness, a sense of desperation. There was no way he could fight back against the Xiao family's naked threat. Peng Zhan didn't doubt that the Xiao family would do something extreme if he didn't agree to their requests. After all, the masters around them didn't leave any evidence behind, and even if they killed his daughter, Peng Zhan wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Mr. Wei, are you all right? Do you need me to send you to the hospital? Peng Zhan turned to Wei Zhizuan, hoping that this guy didn't die in his office. Peng Zhan was a little annoyed he'd been bragging about how strong he was, but it turned out that he was so weak. He'd contacted a top security company, and this Wei Zhizuan was the strongest of them all, but he couldn't even take one hit from the enemy. No need, I'll be leaving first. Wei Zhizuan didn't have the face to stay here any longer. He was heavily injured, but walking wasn't a problem. His face reddened as he quickly left Peng Zhan's office, looking for a place to heal himself. Peng Zhan sighed helplessly. Peng Zhan was a man of his word in Peng Zhan Industries, but there wasn't anyone around him he could talk to. Li Fu was heavily injured, and Lin Yi had lost his strengths. Peng Zhan didn't want to tell Lin Yi about this, and Lin Yi would only worry if he did. There was nothing he could do about it. Peng Zhan gritted his teeth. It seemed like he'd have to take responsibility for this. He felt like he was in trouble both internally and externally. The Xiao family was simply too overbearing and arrogant. It was daylight robbery. But even so, Peng Zhan didn't have a solution. Xiao Ji, Xiao Ben, and Uncle Pai left the Peng Zhan skyscraper together, feeling very refreshed. Peng Zhan really was as the rumors said, with the two masters by his side crippled. Why else would he have found this Wei Zhizuan instead? But this Zhizuan Wei was too useless, and Uncle Pai slapped him to the ground with a single palm. Brother, do you think Peng Zhan will give in? Aren't our conditions a little too harsh? After Xiao Ji got in the car, he asked worriedly, didn't we agree at home that we only want 200 million? But we want Peng Zhan Commercial Building and Peng Zhan Business Hotel. Don't you think he'll do something desperate? Humph, isn't this the same as asking for a sky-high price and selling it on the spot? Xiao Ben smiled, we have to get those two industries. As for the 200 million, I'm guessing that Peng Zhan won't be able to come up with that. It'd be good if he could get 50 million when the time comes, and that'll give him some room to bargain, but if he's stupid enough to give us money, we'll gladly accept it. Ha ha ha, you're really thoughtful, brother. That's right, we're the stronger party, and we're asking for a sky-high price. Peng Zhan can bargain with us when the time comes, and if he doesn't, we'll be making a huge profit. Xiao Ji nodded happily after understanding Xiao Ben's intentions. Bro, since we've successfully coerced Peng Zhan, you should at least tell Master Bin about this. After all, he's the one who provided us with the information. It wouldn't be good if we didn't report the results to him, would it? Xiao Ben suggested after Xiao Ji had calmed down. Of course, of course. Xiao Ji listened to Xiao Ben's suggestion and agreed, you're really thoughtful, brother. We can't afford to offend Master Bing. Our Xiao family needs to have a good relationship with Master Bing if we want to do business in Songshan in the future. With that, Xiao Ji quickly took out his phone and called Zhao Qibing. Qibing heard from Tsihua's informant that the Xiao family brothers had gone to cause trouble for Peng Zhan. He, too, was looking forward to the news from the Xiao family brothers. Qibing and Tsihua were much more cautious this time. They'd sent someone to test Lin Yi's strength, confirming that his strength had dropped drastically, but with the precedent of Uncle Zhu's quick recovery, Qibing and Tsihua were afraid that Lin Yi was pretending to be weak, waiting for the enemy to take the bait. So they didn't make a move on Peng Zhan immediately after receiving the news. Instead, they sent the Xiao family to test the waters. Qibing quickly picked up the call when he saw the Xiao family call. Hello. I'm Qibing. Master Bing, I'm Xiao Ji. Xiao Ji was a generation older than Qibing, but because of Qibing's background, he had to be respectful in front of him. Oh, it's Uncle Xiao. What's up? Qibing pretended not to know. Ha, Master Bin, I'm calling to thank you for the information you gave us. We went to cause trouble for Peng Zhan. Xiao Ji smiled, now that we've succeeded, I'm calling to tell you the good news. Oh, you succeeded? Qibing's heart skipped a beat. Did that mean that Lin Yi was really done for? From the looks of it, he could also move a little. But on the surface, he didn't show it. Is that so? Didn't Peng Zhan resist? Resist? How could he resist? How could he resist? That Li Fu and Lin Yi were both done for, but Peng Zhan wasn't an idiot. He hired another mystic class master from some bodyguard company, thinking that he had something to rely on. He wanted to show off in front of us, but Uncle Pai crippled him with just one move. Peng Zhan was scared out of his wit. Haha. Xiao Ji excitedly recounted the events that had transpired. Oh! He found another master. Chibing thought to himself. Luckily, he didn't act rashly. Peng Zhan's master wasn't that good, and the Xiao family took advantage of him. Otherwise, the Xiao family would be in trouble. It seemed like his information network wasn't that smooth after all. Yeah, I don't know where all these masters came from. Golden class masters are rare enough in this world, and mystic class masters are only found in noble houses. I didn't think that Peng Zhan would be able to hire a mystic class master as well. Speaking of this, Xiao Ji was a little worried. Master Bing, do you think he will hire more powerful helpers? Xiao Ji couldn't be blamed for worrying. He was from a noble house, but he wasn't from a martial arts house. He didn't know as much about masters as Chibing. Chapter 925. A piece of the pie. You don't have to worry about that. I don't think I need to tell you what the power behind me is, so I have a say in this matter. Chibing comforted him. Indeed, in the common world, golden class masters are rare existence. There might not even be a few in a city. Only the noble houses have mystic class masters. However, other than the noble houses, there are also mercenary organizations with masters in their hands. It's just that these people are only there for the sake of benefit. They wouldn't appear without benefit. It's like a mercenary organization as far as I know. The mercenary organizations in the country are strictly supervised by the hidden noble houses. The strongest among them are only mystic early phase. Once they break through to the late phase or mid phase, they'll be recruited by the hidden noble houses. That way, they'll have the chance to break through to Earth class who would stay in a mercenary organization. Oh, is that so? Then what if Peng Zhan hired someone from abroad? Xiao Ji thought of the foreign mercenary organizations after hearing that there weren't any masters in the country. Do you think Peng Zhan has that kind of ability? If he did, his company would have been one of the top 500 companies in the world long ago, not just in the country. Chibing said with disdain. Don't worry, if there were stronger masters he could hire, would he settle for the second best and hire a piece of trash for you to torture? That's true. Xiao Ji finally breathed out in relief and nodded. Thank you for your explanation, Master Bing. Now that you mention it, I'm tempted as well. I want to get some money too. Right, what did you guys extort from Peng Zhan? Chibing asked. Xiao Ji panicked when he heard that Chibing wanted to get some money too. He hadn't even succeeded yet, and now Chibing wanted to get some money too? Wasn't that just asking for a share of the pie? But he didn't dare say anything to Chibing. He said gloomily, we asked him for Peng Zhan Commercial Building and Peng Zhan Business Hotel, and 200 million as startup capital. Oh, I see. Chibing was envious. It seemed like he should make his move as soon as possible, or else Peng Zhan Industries would be taken away by others. When was he going to do it if not now? And so, Chibing wasn't in the mood to chat with Xiao Ji anymore. After a few words, he hung up. Xiao Ji was panicking as well. He hung up the call and started discussing with Xiao Ben. Brother, Zhao Chibing seems to be interested too. Do you think we'd be able to get so much money if he were to join in as well? This isn't beneficial to our Xiao family. Hehe, big brother, you're worrying too much. Xiao Ben, on the other hand, waved his hand casually. The situation now is that the more enemies Peng Zhan has, the better it'll be for us. It's best if there are a few more. Oh, why is that? Xiao Ji's brain wasn't as good as Xiao Ben's, and he couldn't wrap his head around it. Think about it, so many enemies are going after Peng Zhan. Peng Zhan is the one who's at his wit's end. He has no other choice but to cut his own flesh. Even if he has the ability to get more helpers, can his helpers fight against so many people? Xiao Ben explained. Peng Zhan might still think he's lucky if we're the only ones looking for trouble, thinking that he might be able to avoid it. I see. Xiao Ji nodded. Brother, you're the smartest one of all. This way, our Xiao family will get less profit, but it'll be a lot more stable. That's right. So, we don't have to do anything right now. We'll just wait for Master Bing to do what he wants, and when Pengzhan is in trouble, we'll go after him. I don't believe he won't give in, Xiao Ben said. Chibing hung up and quickly called Zihua, Gubang, and Fabai over. He was going to make a move on Pengzhan Industries, and he had to do it as soon as possible. It'd be a huge loss if he didn't get there in time, and the profits would be taken away by others. Right now, Chibing had already treated Pengzhan's assets as his own, and he was afraid that someone else would take it from him. Old Jin, Old Zhong, you guys know Pengzhan Industries very well. What excuse do you think we should use to ask for money from Pengzhan? Chibing asked straightforwardly. These were his trusted subordinates, and he didn't need to hide anything. If Xiao family is using Xiao Ji's wife as an excuse to ask for money, then what about us? At Chibing's level, it was obvious that he was going to take things by force, but he still needed a reason to avoid being criticized. Naturally, Chibing had to find a suitable reason to make a move. Otherwise, wouldn't it be daylight robbery? That was something that Lin Yi would do. Chibing didn't have the guts to do that. Every level had its own rules, and no one would break them. Otherwise, it'd be a complete mess. But Lin Yi didn't belong to the upper class or even the noble houses, so he always did things according to his own rules. He didn't play by the rules at all, and this was why Zhao Chibing couldn't gain any advantage from him. Now that he finally had a chance to teach Pengzhan a lesson, how could he let it go? Pengzhan Industries real estate company was something that Chibing had always wanted. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, the company would have been under his name by now. The few conflicts we had were all with Lin Yi, so it'd be a bit unreasonable to use Lin Yi as an excuse, Zihua said. Xiao family's reason is a bit ridiculous, but it's true that Meng Yaro offended Xiao family's Go Huli. I know that. Why would I discuss this with you guys if I could just go ask for money? Chibing glared at Zihua and said impatiently, let's brainstorm, everyone. I'm afraid that more of Pengzhan's enemies will come after us if the news gets out. If we're late, we won't be able to get as much as we want. Master Bing, I have a good idea, Gubang said after some thought. But it's a bit like stealing. It's fine if it's in the dark, as long as it's not daylight robbery, we won't break the rules, Chibing said. We just need a reason. Pengzhan's probably in a mess right now, and we'll go scare him a little. There's no way he won't give in. Chapter 926. Chapter 925, House Yuo? You're saying that we should forge a transfer agreement and have Pengzhan transfer the company to us, then force him to pay up? Chibing's eyes lit up. Yes, even if he knows that it's fake, he wouldn't dare offend us under such circumstances. We can threaten him that we'll kill his daughter if he dares to make a big deal out of this. I'm sure he won't resist. Gubang nodded fiercely. He hated Pengzhan to the core, and now that there was a chance for revenge, he jumped out without hesitation. What do you guys think? Chibing nodded as he looked at Zihua and Fabai. Master Bing, that's a good idea. We'll have Yarawang come along and scare Pengzhan. I don't think he'll go back on his word. Zihua nodded. All right, it's decided then. Chibing laughed and sent Gubang off to forge the documents. Yangjing, House Yu's house. Yu Shirashing and Yu Bide sat side by side, while Yu Feng sat beside them. Yu Kuan had woken up by now, and while he was grieving, he told Shirashing and Bide about how he got injured. Although it was Yu Kuan's fault for causing trouble for Lin Yi without a thorough investigation, House Yu wouldn't admit to it even if they felt that they were in the wrong. They blamed everything on Lin Yi. Second brother, you have to help Kuan. Now that we know that it was Lin Yi who did this, we'll be looked down upon by the other houses if we don't do anything. Bide's heart was filled with hatred. Lin Yi had destroyed his son, destroyed his hope. Bide's strength was basically stuck at his current level for the rest of his life, and he had placed all his hopes on his son. He didn't think that his son would become a cripple. How could he take this lying down? According to what Kuan said, that Lin Yi is only a mystic early phase. Killing him would be a piece of cake. Shirashing said. But what background does this Lin Yi have? He's already at the early phase of the mystic class at such a young age. That's rare even among the children of noble houses. Don't tell me he came out from some hidden house to train. Oh. Yu Bide listened to Yu Shirashing's analysis and was shocked. Before, he was only thinking about revenge and forgot about Lin Yi's background. Now that Yu Shirashing reminded him, he was worried. If Lin Yi really was from a hidden house, then House Yu would be stirring up a hornet's nest if they went after him. But little Kuan's revenge. Yu Bide sighed sadly. Lin Yi's background is just a guess. It hasn't been confirmed yet, so we can be patient. Shurashing said. Let's stick to our original plan and send Lin Feng to investigate Lin Yi's background. It's not too late to make a decision after we see what his background is. That's the only way. Yu Bide nodded unwillingly. If we can't touch Lin Yi, why don't we touch that Pengzhan? If it weren't for his daughter Meng Yaro asking Lin Yi to kill Kuan, Kuan wouldn't have ended up like this. They couldn't touch Lin Yi for now, but Yu Bide still had some anger he hadn't vented yet. So, he shifted his hatred to Pengzhan and that little bitch Meng Yaro. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi was the murderer, but Meng Yaro was the mastermind. He couldn't let her go. Chem. According to the current situation, Lin Yi is Pengzhan's bodyguard. He's in charge of protecting them. If we touch Pengzhan or Meng Yaro, Lin Yi will definitely stand up and help them. We'll become enemies with Lin Yi, and that's not in line with our plan. Shurashing hesitated and shook his head. Before we figure out Lin Yi's background, we shouldn't make enemies with him. If we touch Pengzhan and Lin Yi really jumps out, House Yu's position will be in an awkward position. We'll be stuck in a dilemma. If we take a step forward, we'll lose House Yu's benefits, but if we take a step back, it'll be embarrassing. That's true. Man, I didn't think that it'd be so troublesome to touch a little Lin Yi. Yu Bide sighed. As they were talking, Yu Feng's phone rang. He glanced at the number and picked it up. Yu Shurashing and Yu Bide usually didn't pick up their phones during a meeting. They rarely brought their phones with them, so someone would call Yu Feng if there was an emergency. For Yu Feng to pick up the phone in the middle of a meeting, it must be someone from within House Yu. Hello. Haitian bro, what's up? Father and third uncle are in a meeting, Yu Feng said. He wouldn't have picked up the call if it wasn't from Yu Haitian, but Yu Haitian was in charge of House Yu's external business and information system. He must have something to say to Yu Feng at this time. It's like this, there's news from Songshan. Pengzhan's bodyguard, Li Fu, has been heavily injured, and we don't know if he's dead or alive. On the other hand, Lin Yi has lost all his strength, and Xiao family has gone to find trouble with Pengzhan. Zhao Qibing seems to be making a move as well. Haitian said. He was told to keep an eye on Lin Yi and related people in Songshan. Oh, what happened? Yu Feng paused after hearing Haitian's words. Did something big happen in Songshan? This is what happened. Yu Haitian told Yu Feng the details of how Zhen Yingjun kidnapped Meng Yaro. I understand, I'll report it to father and third uncle right now. Yu Feng was overjoyed when he heard the news. This news solved all of House Yu's worries. Yu Feng did not dare to waste any time. He immediately told his father and third uncle everything that Yu Haitian had said. This is a godsend. Shurashing's eyes brightened as he tapped on the tea table in front of him, thinking of a plan. Yeah, Lin Yi's kung fu is crippled now, it's the best time to deal with him. Yu Feng nodded excitedly. Now that I'm there, I can kill Lin Yi without any pressure. Childish. Shurashing glared at his son. Although Lin Yi's kung fu is crippled, we still don't know if Lin Yi has any background. How can we act rashly? Chapter 927. Step by step. Sometimes, some things have bottoms. If you don't touch that bottom line, you won't see the result. Shurashing looked at his son, his tone serious. If Lin Yi is from a hidden house, then he's in the common world for training. Otherwise, do you think it's possible for an early phase mystic to be a follower of a rich merchant? If it were a 40 or 50-year-old man with no potential to break through, or a physical practitioner who's trained to the limit, it'd be possible for him to become a bodyguard for rich people. He's not even 20 yet, his future is limitless. Becoming a bodyguard? Do you believe me? Yeah, I wouldn't become a bodyguard no matter how much money you give me, unless it's training. Yu Feng nodded after hearing his father's words, sighing. I still don't have enough experience, I don't understand this logic. But your third uncle and I, at our age, if we don't have any hope of breaking through, we might become bodyguards for some rich people when House Yu is in dire straits. Even so, we wouldn't let you be a bodyguard no matter what, because you're the hope of House Yu's future, Shurashing said. So, Lin Yi's predicament right now might be a test and trial from the power behind him. As the saying goes, when the heavens are about to bestow a great responsibility upon a man, they must first torture his will, tire his bones, starve his skin, empty his body, and mess up his actions. That's why we have to be patient and do what we can't do. This is also a form of training and training. Then father, what do you mean by a heaven-sent opportunity? Yu Feng was a little puzzled. If his father didn't approve of making a move against Lin Yi, then why did he say that it was a heaven-sent opportunity? We can't touch Lin Yi, but we can touch Peng Zhan. Shurashing smiled. Oh, brother, didn't you say that if we touch Peng Zhan, we'll become enemies with Lin Yi? Yu Bide was taken aback and couldn't help but ask. That's before Lin Yi's arts were crippled. If we touch Peng Zhan, Lin Yi would definitely jump out, Shurashing said. But now, what's the point of jumping out when he's lost all his arts? That's true. But what if the power behind Lin Yi can't take it anymore and appears? Yu Bide asked. It doesn't matter if he shows up. We can find out more about Lin Yi. I was afraid that he wouldn't show up. Shurashing smiled, but even if the power behind Lin Yi were to help, they wouldn't be able to do anything to us. We need a reason for everything, and we're after Peng Zhan, not Lin Yi. Since they're here, we'll just give them face and let them go. They won't have to take their anger out on House Yu. Besides, House Yu's background isn't something to be messed with. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. Yu Bide couldn't help but praise after hearing Shurashing's words. This way, no matter what the result is, House Yu won't be at a disadvantage. If the power behind Lin Yi doesn't show up, we can use this chance to punish House Chu and get some benefits out of them. It wouldn't be a wasted trip. On the other hand, if the power behind Lin Yi shows up, we'll be able to find out more about Lin Yi's background. That's right, that's what I mean, Shurashing said. Next, we just need to think about what we should propose to Peng Zhan. House Zhan's asking for too much already. If we, House Yu, don't ask for too much, we'd be wasting this opportunity. Father, I suggest that Peng Zhan give up his shares to us, and send his daughter over to serve my cousin Yu Kuan, Yu Feng suggested. Leave this to me. Your suggestion isn't bad, but it's best if you don't show yourself yet. You're our trump card, and we need you to deal with Lin Yi, Shurashing said. I'll leave this to you, Bide. Go with Yu Haitian and tell Peng Zhan our intentions. Yes, second brother. Yu Bide nodded. He was filled with hatred towards Peng Zhan, and this time, he had to teach them a lesson. Songshan, Peng Zhan's office. Two more uninvited guests. These two were Yarowang and Tsihua. Peng Zhan's anger reached its peak as he looked at the agreement the two showed him. House Xiao had just left, and Zhao Qibing's men were already here. One wave after another, one wave after another. Looking at his signature on the agreement, Peng Zhan felt a deep sense of helplessness. The signature was his, yes, but this agreement was definitely not signed by him. But it didn't matter anymore. Tsihua was obviously here to take it by force. Peng Zhan didn't believe that this was a coincidence. The Xiao family had just left, and now Zhao Qibing's men were here. This had been planned for a long time. Mr. Chu, you can't go back on the agreement you signed, can you? Tsihua said faintly. When are you going to hand over the real estate company to us? It's written in the agreement that the properties you've developed before, as well as the rest, will be handed over to us. I didn't sign the agreement, you guys know very well. Peng Zhan's face was dark. We all know why you're here. You've been plotting against my real estate company, and now you're here to rob me? You sure have a big appetite. Haha, you're wrong, Mr. Chu. I just want to take back what belongs to us. Tsihua said faintly. Mr. Chu, don't do anything irrational. Aren't you worried that you'll push me too far by doing this? Peng Zhan's anger had reached a certain level. He didn't expect these people to jump out so quickly after Lin Yi and Forbert fell. Push you too far? How did we push you? Tsihua grinned leisurely. If you're unhappy, you can call the police. Right, Yarowang? Yes, but you have to be careful in the future, Mr. Chu. I didn't manage to poison your daughter last time, but I might not be able to do it next time, Yarowang said faintly. Lin Yi without Qi, let's see how he'll be able to save her. It's you. Peng Zhan's face froze as he looked at Yarowang angrily. But Yarowang didn't seem to care about Peng Zhan at all. Chapter 928. Chapter 927. Warning. Right, I forgot to tell you, other than being an expert in poisoning, I'm also a mystic class spiritual practitioner. Yarowang said faintly as he looked at Peng Zhan, his tone filled with warning. Give me an answer in 2 days. Zihua and Yarowang stood up and walked out of the office, as if they had Peng Zhan in their grasp. In fact, Zihua did indeed have Peng Zhan in his grasp. From Peng Zhan's attitude today, it was clear that he didn't dare say anything. This was completely different from the past. Last time, he came to Peng Zhan's office after Lin Yi was injured, but Peng Zhan was incomparably calm, sending him away with a few words. Although Lin Yi was injured, his strength was still there, so Peng Zhan had something to rely on. But this time was different. Without Lin Yi's help, Peng Zhan had become a fat sheep waiting to be slaughtered. Peng Zhan sighed dejectedly as he watched the two leave. He was so useless, unable to fight back at all against the threats of these forces. Facing enemies that couldn't be dealt with using normal methods, Peng Zhan felt a deep sense of helplessness. Of course, he knew that he was unlucky. There were so many billionaires out there, and none of them were targeted by these noble houses, but he had to be the one. Peng Zhan finally understood that he was just a businessman. It was impossible for him to go against these powerful noble houses. Without a powerful trump card, he wouldn't be able to go against them. It seemed that he wasn't a qualified businessman yet. As a businessman, he had to know when to give and when to give and when to give and when to give and when to others. Peng Zhan had taken over Peng Zhan Industries from his father's hands, and it had been a smooth sailing without much trouble, until Jin Gubang wanted to take over the company, and Peng Zhan had gone down the wrong path. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, Peng Zhan's best option would have been to compromise with Zihua and split the real estate company, selling it to Zhao Qibing at a low price to protect his own company. Sometimes, compromising was necessary when doing business. If you didn't know when to give and when to give and when to offend people you shouldn't have offended, you'd be doomed. But Peng Zhan had chosen to let Lin Yi join him forcefully, and this was the beginning of the clash with Zhao Qibing. If Lin Yi could stay by Peng Zhan's side, naturally, he would be able to protect Peng Zhan Industries, but if something were to happen to Lin Yi, it would attract Qibing's retaliation. Peng Zhan finally understood this reason. He seemed to be very strong before, but it wasn't wise at all. At Xuemin's house, Lin Yi couldn't help but shake his head after ending the call with Peng Zhan. House Xiao's sudden appearance had caught him off guard, but there was nothing he could do about it. No matter what, he was still employed by Peng Zhan before he left, and he could only place his hopes on the new master Peng Zhan had hired. Boss, what's wrong? Did you run into some trouble? Fatty Lai saw Lin Yi frowning, as if he had run into some kind of trouble. It's nothing. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He couldn't even protect himself now. What else could he do? Phew. Lin Yi took a deep breath. Today, everything his enemies had done to him, he'd return it back double in the future. Grandpa Guan, Fatty Lai, I'm leaving. This time, I'm here to say goodbye. Lin Yi suppressed the thoughts of revenge in his heart and said calmly to the two before turning to Kang Xiaobo, I'll leave Xiaobo in your care from now on. Ah, boss, you're leaving? Why are you leaving? Fatty Lai jumped up from the sofa. He thought that Lin Yi had called him over to discuss the new product launch next month, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to say goodbye. Yeah, I'm injured, and I've lost all my strength. There are a lot of enemies here. Lin Yi briefly explained his situation to Guan Xuemin, Fatty Lai, and Kang Xiaobo. Guan Xin, on the other hand, was making tea for them. She'd just walked in with a tray when Lin Yi announced that he was leaving. She froze, dropping the tray in her hands onto the floor, shattering the teacups and spilling the tea all over the floor. Ah, I'm sorry. Guan Xin realized that she'd lost her composure, and quickly bent down to pick up the broken pieces. She was extremely disappointed. Was Lin Yi leaving? Why was he leaving so soon? Between them, it hadn't even started, and it was already over. Guan Xin's mind was a complete blank, her heart a mess. Her tender hand was cut by the teacup shards on the ground, fresh blood gushing out. The pain brought Guan Xin back to her senses. Xin, are you okay? Why were you so careless? Guan Xuemin saw that his granddaughter's hand was bleeding, and he asked nervously. It's nothing, just a flesh wound. I accidentally touched the broken pieces. Guanxin said, a little embarrassed. She bandaged other people's wounds every day, so she wasn't afraid of blood. She didn't mind that she was bleeding, and she just wanted to bandage it herself. Fatty Lai, give her a bottle of injury medicine. I saw that you brought a lot of samples today. Lin Yi said to Fatty Lai. Yes, boss. Fatty Lai's face was full of sorrow at the thought of Lin Yi leaving, but the more he thought about it, the sadder he felt. Finally, he couldn't hold back his tears, and he started to cry. Fatty Lai, you. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Fatty Lai's reaction. Guanxin's hand is cut. Why are you crying? I'm sad, boss. Are you really leaving? Fatty Lai wiped his tears as he went to get the injury medicine for Guanxin. He still had to listen to Lin Yi, and even if he was sad, he still had to get the medicine first. Fatty Lai thought that Lin Yi wanted to talk to him about the product launch next month, so he brought some samples of the injury medicine. Now it was time to put them to good use. It's not like I won't come. I'm just going there to seek refuge, and I'll come back when I recover, Lin Yi said. It won't affect your medical company. Chapter 929. Chapter 928. Guan Shuimin's suggestion. Kang Xiaobo was the first to know that Lin Yi was leaving. He had heard the news from Tang Yun. Tang Yun was the one who told Liu Xinwen and Xiaofen that she was going back to his hometown with Lin Yi. Naturally, Kang Xiaobo knew that Lin Yi was leaving. Although he appeared calm and resolute, he felt exceptionally sad in his heart. He hadn't known Lin Yi for long, but Lin Yi treated him as a brother and a friend. And Kang Xiaobo also treated Lin Yi as his boss. The changes that Lin Yi brought to him were too big. In just a month, he not only gained confidence, but he also had his own career. This was unimaginable in the past. However, no matter how much he didn't want to leave Lin Yi, he couldn't persuade him to stay. Tang Yun had tried to persuade him to stay, but in the end, she still left with Lin Yi. Kang Xiaobo even had the urge to bring Xiaofen to follow Lin Yi, but he suppressed the thought rationally. It wasn't loyalty, it was nonsense. Lin Yi was going back to seek refuge and recover his strength. What was he going to do? He might as well stay here and work hard to manage the company for Lin Yi. This was what he should be doing, and it was what Lin Yi was happy to see. All right, stop crying. Lin Yi knew that Fatty Lai was a crybaby. It wasn't strange for him to wipe his tears at the drop of a hat. Guan Shuimin, who had been silent all this time, suddenly opened his mouth. Yi, actually, if you don't want to leave, I have an idea. Don't want to leave? What idea? Lin Yi was startled as he looked at Guan Shuimin. Yi, what do you think of Xinshin? Guan Shuimin pondered for a while and suddenly asked. Quack. Lin Yi's eyes went wide at the words. Lin Yi had been hesitant when Peng Zhan told him this, but now that Shuimin was saying the same thing, how could Lin Yi not know what he was getting at? Was Guan Shuimin looking for a grandson-in-law as well? Sweat, it seems like I'm very popular. Grandpa Guan, why are you asking this all of a sudden? But Lin Yi pretended like he didn't understand. Guanxin's pretty, she's a good cook. Guanxin, who was applying medicine to herself, tensed up when she heard her grandpa's words. How could she not know what her grandpa was thinking? Her grandfather wanted to betroth her to Lin Yi. Guanxin was well aware of that. It was just that Lin Yi already had a girlfriend, so Guanxin wasn't too clear about it. Hearing her grandpa talk to Lin Yi in such a serious manner today, Guanxin's heart skipped a beat. Guanxin didn't have high hopes, but she felt that quietly liking someone was also a very happy thing. She didn't have to go for it, as long as she could be by his side and watch him. But even so, Guanxin really wanted to know what Lin Yi's attitude towards her was. And so, Guanxin pretended to apply medicine, but her ears perked up as she listened to Lin Yi's answer. When she heard Lin Yi's evaluation of her, her heart felt as sweet as honey. Wasn't Lin Yi talking about the best candidate for a good wife and mother? Guanxin's breathing quickened, and her face reddened. Did he like her? Haha, if that's the case, then how about I betroth her to you? Guan Shuimin laughed. If you become my grandson-in-law, then you'll be my disciple in medicine. Although you don't need me to teach you, with my name, your enemies won't bother you anymore. I'm just a scholar, but the noble houses and some of the nobles in Yangjing will still give me some face. With me here, no one will dare to touch you. Guan Shuamin wasn't boasting. Lin Yi naturally knew that if he agreed, Zhao Qibing wouldn't dare to openly make an enemy out of Guan Shuamin, no matter how angry he would be. After all, Guan Shuamin had the support of many noble houses and nobles. Guan Shuamin was a famous medical expert in the country, and many people had been treated by him. It could be said that Guan Shuamin's network was very wide. Lin Yi didn't know how to answer at that moment. After all, Guan Xin was sitting right next to him. If Lin Yi rejected directly, it would definitely hurt Guan Xin's feelings, and that wasn't something Lin Yi wanted to see. However, Lin Yi had a good impression of Guan Xin, but it wasn't to the point where he wanted to protect her in the Guan house. I'll go make some tea, you guys talk. Guan Xin didn't think that her grandfather would say it out so directly, and in front of her at that. How could she say it out loud? And so, Guan Xin subconsciously wanted to hide. She found an excuse, stood up, and stumbled to the kitchen. Lin Yi was about to tactfully answer Guan Shuamin's suggestion when the door of the villa opened. Guan Xiaoxiang walked in with a dark face, and said unhappily, "Dad, what are you thinking? How can you just marry Xin to someone? And in a dangerous situation? Plus, Xin is already married to someone else. Even if you want to break off the engagement, you should talk to the person first. Why are you acting on your own now?" Guan Xiaoxiang had been hiding in front of the villa for a long time, and when he heard that his father was going to marry his daughter to this young man named Lin Yi, he couldn't take it anymore. He pushed the door open and rushed in, not to mention that Guan Xiaoxiang didn't have a good impression of Lin Yi to begin with, and now that Lin Yi had gotten himself into trouble outside and wanted to use this method to escape, how could he agree to it? What if Guan Xin was in danger? Guan Xiaoxiang, do you have any manners? Can't you see I'm in the middle of a discussion? Get out, get out. Guan Shuamin didn't expect his son to barge in at this time and say such things that he couldn't get out of the situation. Guan Shuamin's temper flared up. He usually didn't get angry, but now he was angry. He pointed at Guan Xiaoxiang and wanted to kick him out. "I can leave, but I'm afraid that you'll be tricked. It's fine if your reputation is tricked, but I don't want my daughter to be dragged into this." Guan Xiaoxiang hemped and pulled Guan Xin out. Guan Xin didn't know what to do. She didn't think that her father and grandfather would clash so fiercely. She didn't know what to say. "Grandpa Guan, I'll be leaving first. Anyway, I'll leave the medical company to you and Fatty Lai." Lin Yi shrugged self-deprecatingly as he stood up. He didn't need to say anything else under these circumstances, and there was no way he could get involved in Shuamin's family conflict. He might as well take his leave. Chapter 930. Another uninvited guest. Fu. Lin Yi breathed out in relief after exiting Shuamin's villa. Guan Xiaoxiang's sudden intrusion had solved a problem for Lin Yi. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't know how to answer him. Although Lin Yi was reluctant to part with Guan Xin, this girl had left a deep impression in Lin Yi's heart. Lin Yi couldn't stay. He had to find a way to recover his strength. Shuamin's words were right, he may have lost his strength, but he still had his medical skills. It was possible for him to gain some status, but he still believed that medical skills were only a support. Only strength was the capital. What Peng Zhan didn't expect was that two uninvited guests came to the company that evening just as he was about to get off work. Most of the employees had left after work, but Peng Zhan didn't leave. He gritted his teeth and made a difficult decision. He would satisfy the Xiao family's and Zhao Qibing's request. He couldn't satisfy the Xiao family's requests completely, but he could give them the Peng Zhan Business Building and Peng Zhan Business Hotel. As for the 200 million, Peng Zhan wasn't prepared to give it to them. He was a smart businessman, and from the Xiao family's tone, he could tell that the 200 million was negotiable. Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, couldn't bargain with him. He asked for a branch company, and it was one of the most valuable branch companies. The real estate company itself wasn't worth much, but the few pieces of land in the company's hands were priceless. There was no lack of luxurious villas in the last piece of land, and one of them was worth tens of millions. But Peng Zhan knew that this was what they wanted, and he had to give it to them. Peng Zhan's only hope was that after he satisfied the Xiao family and Zhao Qibing, The Xiao family and Zhao Qibing wouldn't bother him anymore. Pengzhan Industries didn't have much assets left, but it was enough to maintain its operations. But just as Pengzhan made the decision, the door to his office was pushed open. Pengzhan was already used to people barging in today, from Wei Jizuan to the Xiao family, to Cihua and Yarawang, and now 2 more. Yu Haitian. Pengzhan recognized one of them, Yu Haitian. He knew that he was the person in charge of House Yu's business in Yangjing, but he didn't know the middle-aged man beside him. Not bad, Chairman Chu. You actually recognize me. Yu Haitian laughed, but his expression was one of arrogance. He may be a businessman, but managing the business for House Yu was something Pengzhan couldn't compare to. Pengzhan's face darkened. Those who came didn't have good intentions, and now that House Yu suddenly barged in, Pengzhan had a bad feeling. Could it be that they were here for trouble as well? Pengzhan couldn't be blamed for guessing this way. After all, there were 2 groups of people here today, and back in the villa, Lin Yi had clashed with House Yu's Yu Kuan because of General Wei Wu, even injuring him. House Yu's purpose for coming here was self-evident. I didn't know that Mr. Yu was here. Pengzhan didn't finish before the middle-aged man beside Yu Haitian interrupted him. You're Pengzhan? How dare you? You gave birth to a lowly daughter who actually let someone injure my son. Yu Bide was here for trouble, and with the pain he felt for his son, he couldn't take it anymore. He exploded the moment he saw Pengzhan. If it weren't for House Yu's benefit, Yu Bide would have slapped Pengzhan to death, and then go after his daughter and Lin Yi. Pengzhan's heart tightened. As expected, they were here for trouble, and it was for that matter. That's right, I'm Pengzhan. I wonder if Mr. Yu has anything to teach me? Pengzhan smiled bitterly, knowing that he couldn't escape today. Teach me? Me. My son is crippled now, a cripple who can't even get up from his bed. What do you think I have to teach you? Yu Bide raged. Even if I kill your entire family, it won't be enough to appease the anger in my heart. Third uncle, please calm down. We're honest businessmen, we can't kill each other. Yu Haitian smiled. Plus, we're here to talk about compensation, Mr. Pengzhan. Of course, if you can't compensate us, we can still kill their entire family. Anger. Pengzhan was shaking with anger. Yu Haitian's words sounded nice, but it was full of threat. If he couldn't compensate them, he would kill his entire family. Wasn't this too much? However, facing the head of the 4 big and 5 small houses, House Yu, Pengzhan didn't have any temper at all. Pengzhan didn't doubt that House Yu's words were just to scare him. If House Yu killed him, it would be as easy as stepping on an ant. At most, if they investigated, there would be countless people who would take the blame. Yu Kuan was the one who trespassed, yet he blamed it on Pengzhan when he got injured. Pengzhan felt wronged. But, you can't reason with House Yu. With House Yu's current attitude, it was obvious that they were here to cause trouble. You tried to reason with them, but they acted like gangsters, and you didn't have any temper at all. That's true. Yu Bide nodded. Haitian, you should speak. Tell him our conditions. If he doesn't agree, I'll kill his entire family. Mr. Pengzhan, my third uncle has a short temper, and Kuan is his only son, so please don't mind him. Haitian smiled. As long as you fulfill House Yu's conditions, he won't kill your entire family. Pengzhan's face turned purple. He had never felt so wronged before, and he couldn't fight back at all. No matter what Haitian said, he couldn't do anything because they weren't on equal footing. He was the one being bullied. What conditions? Pengzhan took a deep breath and asked. From the Xiao family, to Zhao Qibing, to House Yu, all of them were powerful existences, and none of them were people Pengzhan could mess with. Pengzhan didn't know if there would be more powerful people coming after him, but he couldn't deal with these people anymore. Let your daughter marry cousin Yu Kuan as a concubine, and your Pengzhan Industries will be given to House Yu as a dowry. Yu Haitian stated House Yu's conditions word by word. What? Pengzhan was shocked, and his face changed. House Yu's conditions exceeded the Xiao family and Zhao Qibing's. It was unbelievable. House Yu, you've gone too far. How could Pengzhan agree to such conditions? Chapter 931. That's bullying you. Mr. Yu, don't you think that this condition is a bit too much? Pengzhan asked in a low voice. Too much. In our dictionary, we've never heard of the word too much. Yu Bide laughed and slammed his palm on the stone tea table in front of him. Immediately, the hard natural stone shattered into pieces, and shards flew everywhere. Some of the shards flew directly onto Peng Zhan's face, scratching his skin. Peng Zhan stood there, his expression indescribably sad. House Chu's crisis had come, but he didn't have a plan to deal with it. The second condition, I can agree to it. I'll transfer all the shares to you, but the first condition. Yarrow can't marry into your house Yu. Peng Zhan hesitated and finally made this decision. He could lose the company, but he couldn't lose Yarrow. Marry into House Yu as a concubine? Yarrow would suffer a lot in the future. How could he ruin her happiness? Besides, it was her choice who she married. Why would he interfere? House Yu's words are like spilled water. How can we take them back? Haitian said coldly, Peng Zhan, you need to understand that we're not bargaining with you. We're giving you a choice. Either your whole family dies, or you marry your daughter and pay the price. Make your choice. Don't go too far. Peng Zhan gritted his teeth, his eyes shooting out flames of anger. He clenched his fists tightly, his body shaking uncontrollably. What do you mean by going too far? Yu Bide smiled. So what if we're bullying you? You can do whatever you want. You can find people, helpers, but let's see, who dares to cause trouble for House Yu? Don't forget the identity behind House Yu. The rules of the common world don't work on hidden houses. Yu Bide's words hinted that if Peng Zhan had any help, he should bring it out as soon as possible, stop hiding it. He wanted to lure out the power behind Lin Yi. Of course, if Lin Yi didn't come out to help, it meant that Lin Yi didn't have any power behind him, and House Yu would be able to do whatever they wanted. You guys. Peng Zhan felt a sharp pain in his chest. He held his chest as he breathed heavily. He didn't think that House Yu wouldn't even talk about conditions, asking for everything. One had to know that Peng Zhan had already compromised, but they were still pushing. By the way, isn't your daughter's bodyguard very powerful? It's fine if she doesn't want to marry, as long as she shows some of her strength, I'll let her go. Yu Bide was afraid that Peng Zhan wouldn't remember the strength behind Lin Yi, so he reminded him. Peng Zhan was speechless. He didn't understand what Yu Bide meant. He thought that Yu Bide knew that Lin Yi had lost all his strength and was purposely making sarcastic remarks. Otherwise, if Lin Yi hadn't lost his strength, how would they have dared to come to him together? Think about it yourself. Give us an answer in 2 days. You only have 2 days. With that, Yu Bide left Peng Zhan's office with Yu Haitian. Peng Zhan sat on the floor helplessly as he watched the two leave. He didn't know what to do, how to do it. House Chu was already in trouble, but who could he blame? Peng Zhan couldn't do anything even if he regretted it. If it weren't for his benevolence back then, causing Gubang to have thoughts of betrayal and join forces with Chibing, this wouldn't have happened today. The greed of humans was limitless, especially for people like Jin Gubang and Zhao Chibing. As long as their greed grew, it would grow endlessly. Although they gave up temporarily because of Lin Yi's appearance, once Lin Yi lost his strength, these greedy people would come to him again. And now, not only was he in bigger trouble, but he also made some enemies for Lin Yi. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't have to go back to his hometown to hide. Although it wasn't entirely because of him that Lin Yi became enemies with these people, if it wasn't because of him, Lin Yi wouldn't even be able to get in touch with these people, let alone become enemies with them. These 2 days, Jian Wen felt that his kidney was in pain, and he often peed blood. So he went to the hospital for a checkup, and the results shocked him. Young man, where did you get this kidney? It's rejecting it, and from the indicators, it doesn't match at all. We need to remove it as soon as possible, the doctor said to Jian Wen with the report. What? Jian Wen froze. That's impossible. This kidney is mine. I didn't get it changed. How can it reject it? Your own. That can't be right. There are obvious signs of a kidney transplant on your body. Plus, this kidney looks a little different from your other kidney. The doctor couldn't confirm that it was a dog kidney from the X-ray, but he felt that it was different from Jian Wen's other kidney. After all, people's kidneys were different, and they weren't exactly the same. There were some who looked abnormal. That. Jian Wen didn't know how to explain the reason behind it. It'd be troublesome if the doctor got suspicious and called the police. Young man, Your kidney really doesn't match, and there are signs of rejection. If this goes on, you won't even be able to keep your life. It's better to remove it as soon as possible. The doctor said seriously. All right, I'll think about it. Jian Wen frowned. It wasn't easy for him to get his kidney back. How could he remove it now? Wouldn't that be a waste? The first thing Jian Wen did when he got out of the hospital was to call Pinliang. Zhong Pingliang was celebrating with Xiaofu at home. He made a shushing gesture to Xiaofu when he saw Jian Wen's call and picked up. Hello? Wen bro, what's up? Pinliang bro, it's big. Jian Wen said hurriedly, the kidney I got doesn't match. Doesn't match? How is that possible? Isn't that your original kidney? Zhong Pingliang pretended to be surprised, but he was laughing coldly in his heart. It'd be weird if it did match. Unless you were a dog, how could you possibly match a dog's kidney? Yeah, I don't know either, but I just went to the hospital for a checkup, and it really doesn't match, Jian Wen said, plus, the doctor wants me to remove it. Chapter 932. Kidney failure again. It can't be wrong. I do feel uncomfortable, my kidney hurts, and I'm peeing blood. I went to a big hospital for a checkup, Jian Wen said. Is that so? Could it be that the kidney has been in my body for a long time and was assimilated by me? That's why it rejected your body. Pinliang started bullshitting. He couldn't let Jian Wen find out, otherwise Jian Wen wouldn't let him go so easily. Oh, what you said is possible. Jian Wen heard Pinliang's explanation and understood. Did you take a lot of medicine to prevent the kidney from rejecting your body? Yes, it must be the medicine that changed your kidney. Pinliang thought that Jian Wen was quite smart. He didn't even know how to explain it, and he already found a reason for it. Is that so? Then what should I do? Right now, my kidneys are rejecting it. Jian Wen wanted to cry but no tears came out. His kidney. How could it be assimilated by Pinliang just like that? What should he do? He didn't dare to go to a big hospital to find a solution. After all, this matter was a bit strange. If he told the truth, it was hard to guarantee that the doctor wouldn't be suspicious. If the doctor asked him why he transplanted the kidney to someone else and then transplanted it back, how would he explain it? Plus, he took a lot of medicine to prevent the kidney from rejecting it. If the doctor had another solution, he wouldn't have asked him to do the surgery. It wasn't like he couldn't afford it. Your situation is a little special, but I know a miracle doctor. You can go to him. He might have a solution, Pinliang said after some thought. Oh, miracle doctor? Where? Tell me, I'll go to him, Jian Wen said quickly. Go to Floating Cloud Bar and find Zhao Yarawang. His master Bing's family doctor, and his medical skills are quite good. He's very famous these days. Have you heard of him? Pinliang said. I've heard of him. The internet seems to be saying that Zhao Yarawang is really good. Jian Wen nodded. I'll go to him now. Pinliang hung up the phone and cursed at the idiot before calling Master Bing. Hello. Chibing picked up the phone. He was having a great time listening to Cihua and Yaowang's report. It seemed that Peng Zhan was at the end of his rope, and Lin Yi hadn't appeared yet. This meant that all the information was correct, and Lin Yi was crippled. He was now a cripple. Chibing was overjoyed at the thought of owning a real estate company. Master Bing, I'm Zhong Pingliang. Zhong Pingliang said. Oh, it's Liangzi. What's the matter? Under normal circumstances, Zhao Chibing wouldn't talk to Pinliang directly, but since he was in a good mood today, he didn't get mad at him. Pinliang, on the other hand, called because of the urgency of the matter. Master Bing, I've introduced a fat sheep to you. You just have to rip him off. Oh, really? That's great. What illness? Chibing's mood brightened when he heard that someone was giving him money again. It's that Jian Wen, the one who got a dog kidney, Pinliang said. He's showing signs of rejection now. Yarawang will decide how to deal with it. No problem. Xiao Liangzi, I will remember this merit of yours. House Zhong will definitely benefit from it, Chibing said. It's my duty to do things for Master Bing. Why would I need any benefits? Pinliang said hypocritically. After Pinliang hung up the phone, Xiaofu gave him a thumbs up. Liang bro, you're brilliant. Brilliant. This Genwen is dead because of you. What a ruthless move, killing without spilling blood. He should be thanking you for tricking him to death. Of course, that's the best way to treat your enemy. Pinliang laughed. I, Pinliang, am no longer the Pinliang I used to be. What we're doing now is smart, unlike before, where we only knew how to do things recklessly. Yeah, Liang bro, I've noticed that you're getting smarter and smarter. Xiaofu nodded. Hehe, come, let's continue celebrating Lin Yi's death and Pengzhan's fall. Pinliang raised his glass. Cheers. Xiaofu said happily. Right, Liang bro, you said that Lin Yi is like this now. Why don't we go and kick him a little and get some benefits back? What for? You idiot. Pinliang glared at Xiaofu. Why can't your IQ grow like mine? Why are you still at kindergarten level? Do you dare go to elementary school level? I haven't been through life and death. I don't have opportunities like you, Liang bro. Xiaofu laughed dryly. But, why can't we go? First of all, don't underestimate that Lin Yi. He's able to toy with us like this, even crippling me. He's no ordinary person. Pinliang hemphed. That kid's the best at pretending to be weak. Did you forget how badly he played us? That's true. But this time, he lost his strength, right? Xiaofu nodded, then shook his head. Lost? How do you know? Pinliang said. How do you know if he's really gone or not? What if he's lying? It's not like he hasn't done it before. Master Bing thought that he lost his strength last time, but what happened? The skyscraper collapsed again. I see. Xiaofu thought about it. It made sense, but he still asked. But why hasn't Lin Yi done anything yet? I don't understand that kid. He's not like that idiot Genwen who I can play with. Pinliang shook his head. In other words, I'm traumatized. Lin Yi's situation isn't something a normal person can understand. Oh, that's true. Xiaofu nodded. That's the first thing. Is there a second thing? The second thing is, look, the ones fighting for benefits are all people like Xiao family and Master Bing. My old man, as Master Bing's subordinate, would think that we're stealing food from a tiger's mouth? That wouldn't be good, would it? Pinliang said. Liang bro, you've thought of everything. Xiaofu said, impressed. Now's not the time for us to show off. When Zhong Naipao leaves the mountain, that's when I, Pinliang, will show off. Pinliang said proudly. Chapter 933. Too evil. Genwen had been very happy these past few days. Not only did he get his kidney back, but he also got the underground arena that the Fire Wolves promised him. What Genwen didn't expect was that the Fire Wolves promised to send him a mystic early-phase physical practitioner, but now, they sent him a mystic mid-phase peak physical practitioner. This huge difference in strength surprised Genwen beyond word. This was a practitioner who was one level higher than Lin Yi. Of course, Genwen didn't know that Lin Yi had lost all his martial arts. He had been focusing on his kidney these past few days, and he didn't have the mood to ask about other things. However, when Genwen found out that his kidney didn't match, he came back to reality from his fantasy. He didn't have the mood to think about other things anymore. He rushed to the floating cloud bar and saw Master Bing and Yarawang. Genwen knew Master Bing and Sihua. They even worked together to sell their kidneys, so they weren't strangers. Genwen told them his purpose as soon as he entered the bar. Master Bing and Yarawang, who already knew the truth, pretended to be surprised as they looked at Genwen. Master Wen, didn't you get your kidney back? How can it not match? I don't know. It's like this, Zhong Pingliang said that it might be because my kidney was in his body for too long, and it's assimilated. Genwen said with a bitter face, the hospital can't do anything now. They want me to have a kidney resection, but I don't want to lose my kidney. This is my original kidney, and if it's removed, wouldn't I be getting it back for nothing? So, I can only go to Yarawang. I heard that Yarawang is a great doctor. Do you have a way? The kidney doesn't match. Yarawang had received a hint from Master Bing that Genwen was quite rich, and he had to think of a way to get some money from him. However, Yarawang didn't have any good ideas for Jianwen's current situation. His kidney wasn't even his, it was a dog's. What could he do? When Zhong Pingliang called, Yarawang and Master Bing were discussing a solution, but they couldn't think of anything good. After all, human kidneys and dog kidneys were completely different. No matter how powerful Yarawang was, he couldn't make them match. This. I'll give you a check first. The Medicine King pondered for a solution. He couldn't let this fat sheep escape. Even if the Medicine King was a swindler, his methods of swindling money were not random. Although he cheated people of their money, he also planted other diseases in them while curing their illnesses, so that he could continue to cheat them of their money. But the problem now was that he couldn't cure Jian Wen's illness. This was not an illness at all. It was just that the organs did not match. There was no other way but to remove it. No matter how powerful he was, there was no way he could create a compatible kidney for Jian Wen. What do you think? Yarawang, do you have any ideas? Jian Wen saw the frown on Yarawang's face and his heart sank. He asked carefully. He didn't know that Yarawang had no ideas at all. The reason why he frowned was because he couldn't find a way to cheat him of his money. That's not easy. Yarawang shook his head pretentiously. Your kidney has already been assimilated to a great extent. Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have come to you, Yarawang. I heard that Zheningjuan's crooked mouth and eyes were fixed by you. Can you fix my kidney too? Jian Wen begged. I really don't want to lose this kidney again. Fix it a little. Yarawang sighed. How was he supposed to fix this thing? This kidney wasn't even his. How was he supposed to fix it? Yarawang didn't have any ideas. Although he could get some money out of Jian Wen temporarily, his reputation would be ruined if Jian Wen found out that the kidney was still rejecting him. Yarawang cared about long-term profits, not short-term profits. He couldn't ruin his future business just because of Jian Wen. I'm afraid that you will have to remove it. Yarawang sighed and shook his head. Can I not remove it? Jian Wen was on the verge of crying. He didn't think that even the famous Yarawang couldn't do anything about it. If I don't remove you. Chem. The Medicine King wanted to say that it would be useless to keep it in his body if he did not cut it. However, he suddenly had an idea and thought of a brilliant idea. Wasn't Jian Wen trying to keep this kidney in his body? It didn't matter if he didn't remove it. As long as he used his pure qi to seal the meridians around the kidney and make it useless, everything would be fine. As long as the nutrition of the kidney was maintained, it wouldn't die. However, it wouldn't function like a normal kidney. That was what Jian Wen wanted. One kidney wasn't going to kill him. Jian Wen wouldn't be able to tell if this kidney didn't function. He could just tell him that it was fixed. Haha, he was really evil. How could he come up with such a wicked idea? He was Yarawang after all. Plus, this method was very secretive. Only people with pure qi would be able to do it. Normal people wouldn't even think of this method. Those who didn't know would think that Jian Wen's kidney had recovered. So Yarawang wasn't afraid of Jian Wen going to the hospital for a checkup. What's wrong? Yarawang, have you thought of a way to save me? Jian Wen paused when he saw Yarawang in deep thought. It's not that I can't do it, but it's going to cost me a lot of pure qi. I've already used up a lot of it during my treatment. I can't keep using it anymore. I can't make ends meet. Yarawang shook his head and sighed. You know that I'm a practitioner. Pure qi is very important to me. It's even more important than my life. Practitioners can't do without pure qi. Just like Lin Yi, he's out of pure qi. Isn't he in trouble now? Yarawang said. Lin Yi? How come Lin Yi doesn't have pure qi? Jian Wen paused. He didn't have the time to think about Lin Yi. He quickly said, Yarawang, saving a life is better than building a 7-floor pagoda. Please save me. I'm willing to spend any amount of money, as long as you can heal my kidney. I see. Yarawang didn't say anything. He looked at Master Bing. Yarawang, Master Wen used to be our partner. We had a good time working together. Now that he's in trouble, we can't just leave him to die, can we? Zhao Qibing tried to smooth things over. Chapter 934. Chapter 933, Uninvited Guest. How much? Jian Wen asked quickly. 10 million. Yarawang rarely asked for less than 10 million. Although this money was used to scam Jian Wen, it wasn't used to cure his illness. Yarawang was a black-hearted man. Even if he wanted to scam someone, he wouldn't do it cheap. Fine. Jian Wen gritted his teeth. He wasn't rich, and most of his money was given to House An and the Firewolves. But this time, the Firewolves gave him 20 million to start the underground arena. Taking out 10 million in one go made his heart ache. But for the sake of curing his illness, he'd rather spend it like crazy in the future. He had to spend this 10 million now. Alright, I'll do it then. Yarawang nodded and took out his silver needles. He pretended to poke them into Jian Wen's body, but in reality, he was secretly using his pure qi to seal the meridians around Jian Wen's dog kidney. The dog kidney could only absorb nutrients, but it couldn't function as a normal kidney. From now on, Jian Wen's kidney would live in his body like a parasite. Yarawang didn't know if this would cause any side effects, but he didn't care. Now that Jian Wen was cured, it wouldn't have anything to do with him if it happened again in the future. Who knew, he might even be able to collect a huge sum of money from him. Half an hour later, Yarawang finished his work, sweating profusely. He wiped the sweat off his forehead and said weakly, "It's done. But I've used too much pure qi, I need to rest." Jian Wen felt that his kidney wasn't hurting anymore after Yarawang's work. It was really effective. He was overjoyed. That's it. Thank you, Yarawang. Thank you, Yarawang. Waraha, I've finally become a normal person with 2 kidneys. Yeah, congratulations, Master Wen, Zhao Qibing said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. In his heart, he was cursing the kid for being an idiot. Master Bing, I'll transfer the money to you when I get back. You won't doubt my reputation, right? Jian Wen came in a hurry and didn't bring any money with him. He didn't use the phone transfer service. It doesn't matter. We are also long-term partners. I know your credibility. Zhao Qibing waved his hand. Just transfer it back to me when you get back. You've given me quite a lot of money in the past. No problem. Jian Wen was thinking that he'd go back and try again to see if his kidney had recovered. If it really didn't hurt anymore, he'd transfer the money to Zhao Qibing. Now that his kidneys were healed, he remembered what Yarawang said about Lin Yi. He asked curiously, Master Bing, what did Yarawang say about Lin Yi? Is he out of true qi? You don't know? Zhao Qibing froze. He was the one who spread the news that Lin Yi's martial arts were crippled. Logically speaking, everyone who had a grudge against Lin Yi should have gotten the news. Why didn't Jian Wen know? I've been peeing blood from kidney pain these past couple of days, and I'm not in the mood to care about other things, so I'm a little out of touch with the news. Jian Wen smiled bitterly. I see. Master Bing nodded. He didn't hide anything and told Jian Wen about what happened to Lin Yi and House Chu. He even told Jian Wen about the Xiao family, him, and House Yu going to Pengzhan for money. After all, it wasn't a secret. Jian Wen only needed to ask around when he got back. Plus, Lin Yi was Jian Wen's enemy. Telling Jian Wen about this would make him happy and transfer the money to him as soon as possible. Oh, so you're saying that Pengzhan has nowhere to go? Jian Wen asked, surprised. Of course. This time, House Chu is done for. Zhao Qibing laughed. But, I really didn't think that House Yu would join in the fun. They even took all of Pengzhan Industries' shares and made Meng Yaro a concubine of House Yu. TSK, that kid from House Yu got lucky. Zhao Qibing didn't think there was anything wrong with House Yu's participation. He was going to take the real estate company anyway. House Yu might be the #1 noble house in the common world, but he didn't dare to disrespect Zhao Qibing. He was leaving Pengzhan Industries, and he was going to give the real estate company to Zhao Qibing. Oh! Jian Wen frowned in his heart, but on the surface, he looked regretful. Man, if the Firewolves supported me, I'd go and get a share. But my case just came out, it's not good for me to be in the limelight. I don't think there's a chance. Yeah, but you're really unlucky the whole place was raided by the police. But it's good that you're fine. Where there's life, there's hope. Zhao Qibing, naturally, didn't know that Jian Wen was thinking about other things. He thought that Jian Wen was really sad. Forget it, I'll go first. I'll transfer the money to you when I get back, Jian Wen said calmly. Take care, Master Wen. Zhao Qibing pretended to be warm as he said goodbye. Jian Wen nodded and said goodbye to Zhao Qibing. He left the floating cloud bar. He had more important things to do. Jian Wen wasn't an idiot. The reason why he was tricked by Pinliang was because he thought that the kidney belonged to him. He didn't suspect anything else at all. In fact, Jian Wen was a very cunning person. Yarrow Wang, did you fix it for him? Zhao Qibing couldn't help but ask after Jian Wen left. No. Yarrow Wang quickly took off his jacket. Just like last time, he used his pure energy to make himself sweat. In fact, the amount of pure energy he used on Jian Wen wasn't even as much as the amount of pure energy he used to make himself look like he was sweating. Then Zhao Qibing paused. I just made his dog kidney lose its function and sealed some of his meridians. Other than absorbing nutrients like a parasite, he can't do anything else. Yarrow Wang explained. Ha! Zhao Qibing heard Yarrow Wang's explanation and was overjoyed. That's too mean, too mean. Ha ha, but I like it. That's right, working for Master Bing. How can you get rich without being mean? Yarrow Wang said respectfully, Master Bing, I'll go take a shower first. I can't take it anymore, it's so hot. Go, go, you really are my god of wealth. Ha ha ha. Zhao Qibing laughed happily. His luck was really good recently. Lin Yi was done for, and his business was getting bigger and bigger. Once Peng Zhan and Lin Yi were done for, Songshan would be Zhao Qibing's world. After leaving the floating cloud bar, Jian Wen drove to Peng Zhan Industries. Jian Wen was the fifth uninvited guest that came to Peng Zhan Industries today. Chapter 935. Taking advantage. Peng Zhan didn't understand when he saw Jian Wen walk in. Was he here to take advantage of the situation as well? Jian Wen, what are you doing here? Peng Zhan frowned. He didn't seem to have any conflict with Jian Wen, and his daughter only rejected Jian Wen's pursuit. Uncle Chu, I'm here to help you, Jian Wen said humbly, maintaining the attitude of a junior in front of Peng Zhan. He was walking a different path, not to force Peng Zhan, but to take advantage of the situation. Help me. Help me with what? Peng Zhan paused and asked. Uncle Chu, you must be in a lot of trouble right now, right? So many people are looking for you, Xiao family, House Yu, and Zhao Qibing. You must be panicking right now, right? Jian Wen smiled. Did you come here to make fun of me? Peng Zhan was annoyed and didn't want to waste time with Jian Wen. What do you want? Uncle Chu, don't be so distant. Don't you know who I am? I've been Yarrow's childhood friend since we were young, and I love her so much that I came here to help when I heard you were in trouble. Jian Wen said. How are you going to help me? Peng Zhan asked patiently. Uncle Chu, the reason why things have turned out this way is because that kid Lin Yi is useless. He doesn't have any strength, and that's why your enemies came at the same time. Jian Wen said, everyone kicks a man when he's down, and that's the logic of beating a dog when it's down. If Lin Yi hadn't lost his strength, would these people still be looking for trouble? Aren't you spouting nonsense? If Lin Yi was the same as before, why would they be looking for trouble? Peng Zhan wasn't happy. Beating a dog when it's down? Are you saying that I'm a dog? But Peng Zhan's temper was gone, and he didn't want to argue with Jian Wen anymore. That's why, if you had a strong backer, wouldn't your problems be solved? Jian Wen smiled. A powerful backer? Where's the big backer? Peng Zhan hemped impatiently. I wouldn't need you to tell me if I had a backer. It's here. Jian Wen patted his chest disappointedly. Uncle Chu, your big support is me. You. Peng Zhan frowned. Yes, you still don't know my real background, do you? Jian Wen introduced himself proudly. Hausen, we're working for the Firewolf Gang now. You must have heard of the Fire Wolf Gang. Naturally, Chu Peng Zhan had heard of the Firewolves before. They were the biggest gang in the north, but they were rather secretive. They controlled a lot of businesses in the dark, but they never did anything personally. They were the kind of gang that people wouldn't easily know about. But Peng Zhan had heard that the Firewolves were very powerful, and many big houses had to give them face. Fire Wolf Gang? Can you get the Firewolves to help me? Peng Zhan asked. Of course not. Jian Wen shook his head awkwardly. Then what's the point of saying this? Peng Zhan felt that Jian Wen was up to no good at this time, so he didn't give him a good face. Jian Wen laughed dryly, but we can borrow their power. If Yarrow marries me, Then she'll be the daughter-in-law of the firewolves. When I show up, I believe that the Xiao family, House Yu, and even Zhao Qibing will have to give me face and give up on you. Marry you? Peng Zhan couldn't help but be amused. He finally understood what Zhen Wen was planning. So this was what he was planning, to take advantage of the situation. Yes. Zhen Wen said proudly, I'm not afraid to tell you, Uncle Chu, the firewolves have sent another master to stay by my side, a physical practitioner at the peak of mid-phase of mystic class. House Xiao's Uncle Pai is only a mid-phase physical practitioner, and House Yu's Yu Bide is only a mystic early-phase spiritual practitioner. Zhao Qibing's Yarrow Wang is only a mystic early-phase spiritual practitioner as well. Plus, he's an expert in medicine, so he's not even worth mentioning when it comes to actual combat. Peng Zhan froze. He didn't expect Zhen Wen to have such a master by his side. No wonder he dared to talk terms with him. I didn't expect you to have such a powerful master by your side. Peng Zhan nodded and said faintly, Yes, Uncle Chu, what do you think? As long as Yarrow marries me, I'll announce to the public that I, Zhen Wen, am your son-in-law. Then, I'll get my mystic mid-phase physical practitioner to come out and intimidate the public. I think no one will dare disrespect me then. Zhen Wen laughed. But, I'm afraid that even if I agree, Yarrow won't. Peng Zhan, however, rejected Zhen Wen's suggestion. So, Zhen Wen, please leave. What? Zhen Wen froze. He didn't expect Peng Zhan to reject his suggestion. When he first came here, he was full of confidence. As far as he knew, Peng Zhan was at his wits' end. Other than accepting his suggestion, only death awaited him. But Peng Zhan really rejected it. Zhen Wen panicked, Uncle Chu, what do you mean by this? Don't you want to protect Peng Zhan Industries anymore? To me, Yarrow's happiness is more important than Peng Zhan Industries. Peng Zhan shook his head. Working with Zhen Wen was like asking a tiger for its skin. Especially after knowing Zhen Wen's dark background, Peng Zhan didn't want to work with him anymore. Plus, Yarrow wouldn't agree to marry Zhen Wen. What was the difference between that and marrying into House Yu? With Yarrow's personality, she would rather die than marry into House Yu. But, even if Yarrow doesn't marry me, she still has to marry into House Yu. Zhen Wen said unwillingly, could it be that Uncle Chu already has a plan? No. Peng Zhan shook his head decisively, but Yarrow won't marry into House Yu. Zhen Wen heard Peng Zhan's words and calmed down. So Peng Zhan didn't have any other plan. So, Peng Zhan's rejection must be because he was still hoping that House Yu didn't push him too far, so Peng Zhan must think that he could negotiate with House Yu again. Chapter 936. Chapter 935, Songs Han-O. Peng Zhan replied faintly, his face expressionless. Actually, I do want to help House Chu, but I don't have any grudges with the Xiao family, House Yu, or Master Bing. If I don't have a reason to stand up for them, then it'll be hard for me in the future. So I can only let Yarrow marry me. No one can say anything about it. It'll be hard on Yarrow, but the heavens and earth can see my feelings for Yarrow, and I'll treat her well in the future. Zhen Wen continued after seeing no response from Peng Zhan. Oh, I understand. You can leave now. Peng Zhan nodded and sent Zhen Wen away. Zhen Wen's suggestion wasn't very tempting to Peng Zhan. If Meng Yarrow liked Zhen Wen, then Peng Zhan would be happy to see it happen, but the problem was that his daughter didn't like Zhen Wen at all. Marrying her to Zhen Wen was the same as harming her. All right, Uncle Chu, think about it and call me anytime. Zhen Wen nodded and left Peng Zhan's office without another word. He understood that no matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to change Peng Zhan's mind so quickly, but Zhen Wen firmly believed that Peng Zhan would call him the moment he couldn't take it anymore. After all, this was Peng Zhan's only choice. It seemed like he had to think of a way to get House Yu to put more pressure on Peng Zhan, and that was the only way Peng Zhan would come to him when he had no other choice. See you out. Peng Zhan didn't like Zhen Wen taking advantage of others like this, but he couldn't say much about it. After all, Zhen Wen wasn't looking for trouble, and Peng Zhan was already very thankful. But what should he do now? Peng Zhan fell into deep thought, a little lost. Bad news came to WNR's ears one after another, but she couldn't do anything about it at all. Although she was powerful and the palace master of the Dark Knight Palace, The Dark Night Palace was controlled by the Great Elder. Without the Great Elder's permission, no one could go down the mountain without permission. Palace Master WN sat uneasily in the pavilion. At this moment, she didn't have the heart to train. Her heart had already flown to Songshan City. If she could fly, she would definitely fly there. Palace Master, Elder Li is here again. Little Qing looked at the frowning Palace Master and felt very uncomfortable in her heart. However, she was only a little lass. What right did she have to speak? Let him in. Didn't I say that Elder Li can come in directly? WN heard that Elder Li had come again, and quickly ordered Little Qing. On this day, she had already received several pieces of bad news. She had already asked Elder Li to keep an eye on the movements in Songshan City. Who knew if there would be any new news? I hope it's good news. Yes. Little Qing replied somewhat helplessly. But, I have already let Elder Li directly come in. He was the one who asked me to inform the Palace Lord. Oh. Then bring him in quickly. Palace Master WAN nodded. Greetings, Palace Master. Elder Li walked in under Little Qing's lead and bowed to the Palace Master. Uncle Li, didn't I tell you to come in directly? Palace Master WN asked urgently. How is it over there? Miss, the rules can't be broken. I can't let people get hold of me anymore. Elder Li smiled bitterly. If I give up this little bit of power in the Dark Shadow Group, then I really won't be able to help you at all. Alright, I understand. Uncle Li, you're making me anxious. How are Pengzhan and Yao Yao? Palace Master WAN smiled bitterly. It's still bad news. Houseu went to find them too. Elder Li sighed and shook his head. Houseu? Why did they go too? Palace Master WN was shocked. How did Pengzhan offend Houseu? It's not him. Young Master actually didn't offend Houseu. Elder Li said, it's Yu Kuan from Houseu. He broke into Mrs. Villa at night and injured Mrs. Pet Dog, General Weiwu. Miss was furious and asked Lin Yi to kill Yu Kuan, but because of Li Fu, Lin Yi let Yu Kuan go. But Yu Kuan was now a cripple, and so Houseu used this as an excuse to take revenge on you. Why did Houseu break into Yoroiro's villa? What do they want? Palace Master WN was really angry. It's just a common world Houseu. How dare they touch my daughter? If Grand Elder agrees and recognizes Miss, then Houseu won't dare to touch her. Elder Li smiled bitterly. Even the hidden house behind Houseu would have to think twice, not to mention Houseu. Yeah. Palace Master WN sighed. My poor daughter. Houseu went to Lin Yi because Lin Yi has a few pieces of the map of Skyclass Island. Elder Li said. Him? He has pieces of the map. Palace Master WN was surprised, but she shook her head. Let's not care about him. What did Houseu say? What do they want? Houseu proposed to let Miss marry them as a concubine and let young Master's company be part of the dowry. Elder Li sighed. What? Palace Master WN stood up, shocked and angry. How can they be so shameless? How dare they? If Miss came, they wouldn't dare. Even if I came, Houseu wouldn't dare. But I can't leave the mountain, Elder Li said helplessly. The Dark Shadow Group is in charge of gathering information. There are no masters in it. No. I'll go beg Grand Elder. I can't let anything happen to him and Yao Yao. If something happens to them, what's the point of living? Palace Master WN couldn't sit still anymore. If it was really like what Elder Li said, then House Chu was finish. Her daughter's life was finish. She couldn't let her daughter's life become a tragedy. She definitely couldn't. Sigh. Elder Li sighed. I'll go with Miss. Palace Master WN and Elder Li walked quickly to Grand Elder's training area. As soon as they entered, Palace Master WN said seriously, Grand Elder, WN wants to leave the mountain. Leave the mountain? Have you broken through Skyclass? Grand Elder asked faintly, not caring about Palace Master WN's anxious expression at all. No. That's why WN asked Grand Elder to let me leave the mountain. If WN breaks through Skyclass, then I can leave the mountain whenever I want. Palace Master WN said.